Global Network.
To stand up and we honor our country, Uganda, with the national anthem. We will also honor the United States of America. So can we kindly please stand up and sing the Ugandan national anthem, please? Let's have the US anthem. Thank you very much. In the same accord, let's stay standing and give glory to God. I want to invite Dr. Isaac George Wilson Balinda to come and give us a prayer. Dr. Isaac Karibu.
Let us bow heads and close our eyes and thank God for this wonderful conference, the Diaspora Conference that is bringing up all of us together here in Massachusetts as Ugandans and friends of Uganda. Father, we just want to thank you for this wonderful morning. I just want to thank you for this conference that is uniting us, that is opening borders for us in every area of our gifting, of our abilities, whether in business, whether in investment, whether in entrepreneurship, in every area to be thinkers and to make a difference, not only here in the United States, back home in Uganda, and in other countries. Father, I pray for spiritual and physical breakthrough, open doors for all of us in every area, especially for our children, as we leave a legacy in every area. Father, we pray for financial breakthrough, as most of us we are here to work, to study, to make money, and to live an abundant life that you promised in John 10:10. Father, I just want to lift up our speakers. I want to lift up the diaspora leaders, Ronnie Mayanja and the rest, and all those who have gone to watch us live. Bless us. Thank you for the breakfast. And I lift up every event and all those so that many will be able to come and enjoy and study and learn and make a difference in their lives. In Jesus' name, I pray. Everybody say amen and amen. Thank you all. Can you turn around and welcome the person next to you? Tell them you are blessed to be in this wonderful conference. So you are blessed.
Thank you very much. Dr. Isaac George Wilson Balinda from Kingdom Solutions Ministries International. Thank you very much. Again, I hope you've been able to check on your neighbor, find out their name, where do they work, exchange a card or two, share an email and your telephone number. Dr. Isaac George Wilson Balinda, when we were coming, we were about 34,000 feet above sea level, deep in the skies. And I was looking through, the window, and I saw, little things, like little homes, trees and everything. I came to think, so God, who is beyond 34,000 feet, knows every one of us by name. In those little houses, there are people, and he knows them. So I was thinking, this God is above 34,000 feet, and he knows little old me, who is in this space here. It just marveled me at how big God is, and that he knows us by name. So thank you very much for ushering us into the presence of God. For those of you that are coming out of the United States, welcome to the land of the free and to the home of the brave. When we were singing a national anthem, I saw the back-end team, when they got to that part, for the land of the free, they closed their eyes and and the home of the brave. It's like, wow. Wow, it was sort of, welcome to the United States, welcome to Boston. I want to invite Mr. Ronnie Mayanja, who is the events planner and organizer for the Uganda Diaspora Network. We have a gala that happens every year in Boston, in Toronto. The team here works very hard, very, very hard to make this event happen every year. Can we give him a round of applause and the team? Mr. Mayanja, we really appreciate your efforts. It's heavy planning such an event, and the team in the background, really, we celebrate you. Thank you for making sure this event happens. Come and officially welcome us, and then we can get started. Mr. Mayanja, karibu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Solomon Seranja. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Mr. Solomon Seranja, Africa Komla Dumla winner, Journalist of the Year award from the continent of Africa. He's a very good friend and he's ably carried out this job for us for the last literally 11, 12 years. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just joined us, those watching in Uganda, Kampala, you're welcome. You're at the New England Business Expo and Independence Festival. That is what we dubbed this event. The idea is to celebrate our independence 61 years today, or come October 9th, and we would like to celebrate each and one of those years that Uganda has been in existence. For those who need the password, if I might just segue a little bit, the Wi-Fi password is TPGVIP. I repeat, the password is TPG capital and then VIP. If it doesn't work for the lower cases, just be able to go into the lower cases. So TPGVIP. That's going to be the Wi-Fi. Or if you have trouble, go to Mr. Kalunji at the sound. He'll be able to help you with that. Back to the program. Again, my name is Ronnie Mayanja. I'm the founder of Uganda Diaspora Network. We've been around since 2011. We started off in Kampala, Uganda. We hold an annual Diaspora Homecoming, which is held at Kampala Serena Hotel. I served as one of the board members of Uganda North America Association. As soon as my 2 tenures were done, that is when I had the idea and the vision to start Uganda Diaspora Network, just because I was getting a lot of calls from people who live beyond North America who wanted us to start organizations in their community. I was able to partner with a number of organizations, and I also have partnerships with Uganda Diaspora Network Japan. I've been called upon to help Uganda Diaspora Kenya set up theirs in Nairobi. They're going to be having their first major one on Independence Day with a golf tournament in, I believe it's Thimaka or something like that, one of those golf courses in Nairobi. But I couldn't be there because I had to be here as well. So what I'm trying to say, and that's going to be run by Mr. Ian Kamese and some other Ugandans who live in Nairobi. There's a big, huge diaspora presence in Nairobi. What are we all about? We're about opportunity. We're about networking. We're about creating what I believe are good synergies between we who have kind of come here, gone to school here, gained experiences here, and what we can be able to give back home. I happen to have come here recently. I got a lot of calls when I did a interview with Flavia Namlindo, and some people didn't know that, I'd come here, I came here courtesy of a J1 visa, worked for CNN International in Atlanta as the Africa Mind at the CNN International desk. I came as an exchange professional, and somehow 20 years later, I'm still in the United States. So the one thing that I would encourage you, use the opportunity, the networking, and the social capital that you have to better yourselves. But back into what happens to be a very good weekend for us today. We have a lineup of amazing speakers. And I would like, by the way, to start by recognizing our partner sponsors, starting with MTN Uganda, the chief executive of MomoPay. MTN MomoPay is here, Mr. Richard Yego. Please stand up for recognition. Thank you so much for making this happen. We are here because of people like MTN MomoPay that have allowed for us to be able to be in places like this. I would like to recognize in a special way NSSF Uganda. Please, the representative, if you can just stand and wave. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people who make it happen for us to be here. Equity Bank, I see Mr. Galabuzi, the head of retail banking, back there. Those watching in Massachusetts, we are live right now on BBS Telefine and Diaspora Television. Please come. They are here to make sure that you can be able to open accounts and benefit from some of their services. And then we have companies like Housing Finance Bank, who are also here, represented by people like Ms. Morina Simwe, and then other people will be joining us later. We also have a proclamation. The mayor of Newton will be joining us tomorrow for the dinner. I just wanted to let you guys know that we have a jam-packed session program that is going to be running. In a special way, our keynote for the breakfast, again, will be introduced by Mr. Soranger later, is Mr. Ralph Kilondu, who is the founder of the largest diaspora Kenyan circle from Atlanta, and also which encompasses the entire United States. Mr. Ralph, please stand up and wave. We want to know how the Kenyans have been able to scale their income to $40 million now with investments across Kenya, here in the diaspora, and how we can actually be able to grow ours. Those are the kinds of calibers of people you're going to be seeing. Hugo Kamia, who happens to be the Associate Dean over at the School of Social Sciences, Director, at the School of Social Sciences in Simmons University. He's joining us as well to speak about education opportunities. Just stand up and wave so people can actually be able to see you. He's going to be invited. All these people will be able to speak. I happen to work very closely with a wonderful friend, Mariel, if you might also start. They're all going to be speaking later. She's the president of the Boston Africa Festival and the founder. Please stand up. I'm glad to be on her board, as I invited her specifically because recently we had a big event in the Boston Common, and she was the person who put all that together, bringing up to 10,000 Africans in the Boston Common. So one of the things we believe so strongly in doing is doing that whole corporate thing that allows us to be able to do what we do. Jeffrey Semaganda, a good friend, Action Wealth International, if you can just stand and sort of wave. This is another gentleman, very accomplished with businesses in Dubai, Uganda, and here in the United States. So the room is full of very powerful people. Dr. Michael Chisembo, multi-professionals, our tax advisor in Massachusetts. Why don't you stand and wave so people can recognize you in a special way? So again, these are some of the people that we work very closely with, and I'll not go into Afande Maureen because she's going to be coming to speak, but ladies and gentlemen, big it up and give it up to the president of the Uganda Boston Community Association, Maureen. These are people who have supported and sustained us in everything we do. She'll be coming to give her own remarks. And then Madam Miss Uganda, Oliver Nakakande. Please stand up. She's going to be leading the fashion segment tomorrow. She flew in all the way from Dubai to be here. Again, the people that we have here and the people coming, and some of them told me they might be late here, but they're going to be in tomorrow. And then once we finish the broadcast, everybody will be coming in later. That is all going to be happening. We have a great, great program. So, Mr. Sejaka, the board chairperson for Old Mutual Investment Group, thank you so much for trekking here to be able to introduce to us many of the ideas and the things that you have going on. But mine is just to welcome you. Thank you for being here. thank you for supporting us. It's never easy to do this. Where we have failed and fallen short, find it in your hearts to forgive us. But we hope it's going to be a great weekend overall for everybody who is here. I don't work alone. I work with a team in Uganda led by Mr. Shadrach Olinga, who, Shadrach, if you're out there, just come out to the door, wave so people get to know. He's the one who runs the Canada Convention. He's the one who does many other things, but I'm not so sure he's here. Oh, he's right there. Yeah, he came all the way from Uganda to support this event. He's also done well in everything that we do in Canada. Last year, we had more than 100 people granted visas, courtesy of Uganda-Canada Convention. And it was his work in Uganda to help coordinate all that. So ladies and gentlemen, we're here to help. We're here to see what opportunities we have for our people, and we're here to network. That is really what we're about. And I encourage you to kind of interface with everybody, and let's make Uganda great, and let's see what we can do to better ourselves in terms of everything. We're broadcasting to a wider audience, and I recognize in a special way the managing director of BBS Television in Uganda, who I happen to have worked with when I was at WBS Television as a deputy general manager, but he's now leading and ably leading Uganda. Mr. Patrick Sembajo, thank you so much for the support, the board and management of BBS Television. I would like to recognize Mr. Alan Watson in a special way, Diaspora Television, who also continually supports our work and effort. Mr. Kalunji, thank you for always being there for us and supporting us. Other partners are NALA Uganda, NALA have supported us, Housing Finance have supported us, Action Wealth International have supported us, and other people, you'll be able to hear them as they speak. So thank you so much for being here. And with those many, many words, I just wanted to make sure that I've mentioned everything that needed to be mentioned. The other things will be taken care of, courtesy of Mr. Solomon Seranja. But please, thank you so much for being here. And last but not least, this magazine that you see is free. It was produced by Mr. Bedford Buyungo, our creative director, is part of the team. He's in Uganda. Mr. Bedford Buyungo, if you're watching, thank you so much for always making us look neat and good. Get yourself a copy and be sure to enjoy this evening. And Mr. Solomon Seranja, it's all about you now. I'm sorry I took a little bit of time because I didn't think I would be back here after that. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to this gentleman who is doing great work as the, what is it? Is it the African Investigative? Just tell them what you do.
Another round of applause to Ronnie Mayanja here. Ronnie, thank you. Let's love on him, guys. Let's love on him. Ronnie Mayanja there, the brains behind this event that happens every year. I can tell you because I know a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. It's a madhouse. It's really, for some of you who have organized simple birthday parties, you know what it means, from just a simple birthday party, but to an event that happens every year. Thank you very much. We're really 1 hour behind, so I will not do a lot of, talking. I want to invite now the president of the Boston Community Association, Madame Maureen Asimwe, to come and officially welcome us here to Boston. Madame Asimwe, you're very, very welcome. Karibu sana. We cannot wait to feed off your palms. Karibu. Madam President, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seranja. Fellow community members, diaspora at large, the Ugandan delegates, I'm of the names of Maureen Asimwe Kalemba, the president of Uganda Boston Community Association. I stand alongside with our secretary, Uganda Boston Community Association, Mr. Moses Kaya Ontanka. We want to welcome you to Boston, the heart of Ugandans. If you want to come to the diaspora and you miss Boston, you've missed a great deal, because the life starts here. We are the springboard for anybody in the diaspora. Even though they go anywhere, they'll still come back and ask a question or two about how to deal or navigate the diaspora, and we are the phone call that answer it when it is made. So we thank you for coming. we would like to say that as Uganda Boston Community Association, we are celebrating as Ugandans the 61st independence from our homeland, Uganda. We had this dream, and guess what? We had Ronnie who walked into the doors and says he has the same dream. And then we said, why not? We partnered up with Ronnie, and here we are celebrating the second diaspora event for community independence in the diaspora at New England. Our journey has not been easy, as it has been mentioned by Mr. Mayanja, but we have really, we soldier on, because that's what we do in everything when you're working to make progress. So I come and say that UBCA main focus this year, or in the years to come, the next 10 years, or the 10-year plan, is about economic, social development. Hence, bringing in the Kenyan Circle to tell us more about how to invest, develop, and make our community great. So, Mr. Ralph, we really welcome you. We're gonna get a fuel of knowledge on how to do economic development in our community. We are here in the States to reflect upon a lot of great knowledge from all the investment organizations that are here. Momope, Equity Bank, NALA, Housing Finance, name it, MTN, that's Momope, you know. Diaspora TV is always giving us the best. We can't say enough. NSSF is always there. You know, we want to hear the investment club right here. Everybody is going to be getting a lot of knowledge to push through or to navigate the diaspora. So we want to see that happen. We are more than 30,000 Ugandans in Massachusetts. And so we want a place of abode. And each one of you supporting these organizations in the diaspora, you building the gap closer to us attaining that place of abode. We have a project that we're doing, which is a land project. We want to build our own things, our own buildings. We want to have our own little Kampala, and we can't attain it without us joining hands. So we are here to ask that we, the Uganda Boston Community Association,
Your opening remarks.
Before I even talk a little bit about the African Festival Boston, you know, before planning it, initiated, you know, we had meetings. And I'm so happy that among the earlier brain and, you know, we were debating, Pastor Balinda was one of them. And he took a leap of faith, and I'm telling you, we started with 0. However, he was the first one to come and say, this is a $500 check for you guys to start up. And then we lost touch, eh? But I just wanted to, you know, acknowledge him because, you know, it's not a one-person vision, but it's not a one-person vision, but it's, you know, it's a village, and it takes a village, and we have to acknowledge, especially our elders. So quickly about the African, taught our own regional integration here in the diaspora.
Professor, you stay there.
You
I'll
want me
give
to
an
stay
opportunity to 3 people to ask
Okay,
questions.
thank you.
Because it looks like they're fired up. Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Michael Kisembo, but I'm asking, compounding, is it daily compounding, or is it monthly compounding, or 3 months compounding?
It is daily compounding.
Second question. Daily compounding, right?
Yes, please.
Oh, very good. But what I'm asking, what is presumed risk in that? Because any financing, any scheme has inbuilt-in risk. So what's the risk?
I think the risk, for me as far as I'm concerned, is in terms of the rate of return that we're offering, isn't it? That we're offering a rate of return of 5.24% as of today. Okay? And that accounts for your risk. Okay? So in terms of how you would talk about the loss of your funds is Old Mutual Investment Group is 178 years old, okay? It is in more than 12 countries in Africa. It is quoted on the stock exchange. It has professional managers. And just for Uganda, to give you an idea, in terms of assets under management, we have more than $150 million at the moment. Okay, so your risk has been minimized in terms of the people we're using to manage the fund.
Thank you. Oh, last question.
Thank you. Mr. Sijaka, I just wanted to ask, do unit trusts work like maybe bank deposits? Like the deposits in a unit trust, are they insured? And if so, to how much amount of money are they insured?
Thank you. Unit trusts are not insured, okay? What we have is we are regulated. Unit trusts are regulated. Okay, so if, supposing you want to open up a unit trust account, and you're going to have that unit trust account managed by Old Mutual. Old Mutual does not receive your money. Old Mutual has put in place a custodian, right? And that custodian is a top corporate tier organization. That is Standard Bank. In Uganda, it is called Stanbic Bank, okay? Then the administration, the oversight, is undertaken by a trustee. And the trustee that we have put in place is KCB Bank, okay? So the administrator and the trustee are the ones who provide oversight. And I think that goes back to Mr. Kisembo's question in terms of the risk. What our managers do is they look for opportunities all the time in terms of where to invest your money. They will then instruct Stanbic Bank and the trustee to invest the money depending on the opportunities that we have found for you. And that's what we do. And that's how we manage your money. Now, your money is accessible at any time. That's the difference. It's not like you're saving it in a bank and you have to wait. So if you put your money today and you want it tomorrow, we'll give it to you. Okay? The point here is the size to which the fund grows. So some people are exiting, some people are coming in. Now, I have another presentation which I would have spoken to, but I don't have the time. But you can see in terms of unit trusts, today we have more than 1.7 million shillings in Ugandan currency, unit trusts. 1.7 trillion shillings, funds under management, okay? So the funds are growing, and the culture of saving is also growing. That actually now, you don't have to build that school physically, you don't have to buy a car physically, or build a residential physically and have it in Uganda. But you can keep your money, and when you come back, you'll be very happy that it has been growing.
Just the last question.
Well, it's not really so much of a question, but this is what I want to thank Mr. Mayanja. This is why all of us we are here. And I'd like to ask Mr. Mayanja, for me, I would like to do some publicity through churches here. I'm like a bishop. People need this, what you are presenting. You know, getting stocks and so on is risk. So we'd like to start and invest. We don't know how long you're going to be here. Maybe Mr. Mayanja can arrange another special session somewhere whereby we could meet you. We would like to start investing, and we need you to convince us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I will convince you. Thank you, Doctor, for that comment. I am here until the 11th of this month. I will be here in Boston. And as I have said, I think tomorrow or the day after, is it Monday? We're going to do a Twitter space with Solomon, and we'll explain more of what we are doing.
Okay, but what really is happening, again going back to Mr. Kisembo's question, the issue of risk, is as fund managers, we develop a diversified portfolio. And if you've been reading in the East African, there are some parts of that portfolio that have been hit very badly. For instance, investments in equity. And Gerard, you just had a hit in terms of your annual report last year. And all of us have had that hit. Because equities have been performing very poorly in terms of market values. But the fundamental assets, the underlying assets, are still very good. So what we do is then we say that if we are facing the risk in prices of equities going down, what are the alternative investments that we can do? But I am here until Monday, and we will speak to it. Doctor, if you really want me to convince you more, I'm available the whole of today, and we can sit over lunch and talk. Thank you.
Hi, may I please ask a quick question? Sorry. I mean, what you're saying is really important, and we need more.
Oh, sorry, before you go on.
Yes.
What we are calling unit trusts, for you people who live in America, are what you call mutual funds. Okay? Does that help?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Yes,
Please go on.
no, it does help, and there's definitely need of more capacity building for us to really learn the landscape. As you know, my country, the DRC, is the new baby of East African community. And there's already a strong partnership with Uganda and DRC. I don't want to go to the details. However, what will take for you also to kind of try to venture to the DRC and to introduce this system?
I think we're already looking at that.
Okay.
And Old Mutual will definitely, because of joining the East African community, will be venturing into the DRC. I mean, it's the point here really is risk is always associated with return.
No problem. I mean,
Exactly.
Equity Bank is doing very good
Exactly,
in the DRC.
exactly. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Professor, thank you. Professor Samuel Sejaka, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Solomon now knows my name. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Listen, if I think you can really sell. I'm sold out, and I think I'm going to invest. Thank you very much. A round of applause to Professor Samuel Sejaka. The fact that you can withdraw your money at any time, for me, that's really amazing. In a month, you collect over $4 million? That's crazy. In 1 month? Wow. Looks like it's a very good product. I now want to invite the CEO of MTN Momo, Richard Diego, to come and talk to us how easy it is for us to transfer money direct to our mobile account. Diego, you're very, very welcome. Karibu Sevo. Let's love on him as he comes.
Thank you very much, Solomon. A very good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen of Boston, the Uganda Diaspora leadership. I salute you. Ronnie Mayanja, thank you very much for the efforts you have put in over the years. I was shocked when Ronnie told me he has been here for over 20 years. That's the time he picked me from the airport. I felt he had been here for 5 years. But Ronnie, well done. Of the Boston community, Asimwe, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you. I bring you greetings from MTN Uganda and also MTN Mobile Money. I know often some people call us MTN Momo Pay. So Momo Pay is a product of MTN Mobile Money, just to give clarity. But it gives me a lot of pleasure and honor to stand in front of you here and address you, interact with you, for the next 2 days, and we are very excited. The team from MTN sends their greetings to all of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you're all aware, we are the #1 telecom in Uganda. We have been around in October, on the 25th of this month, we are celebrating 25 years of existence as MTN. We did enter Uganda in 1998, around this time, and therefore our silver jubilee is very soon coming up. And what a better way to celebrate 25 years than interacting with our Uganda diaspora people here. So at MTN, we serve over 18 million customers today. So in the past 25 years, we have managed to, onboard more than 18 million customers on the network and still counting. Yeah. And what that means is that, it speaks to the trust that the people of Uganda have given to the network MTN. But speaking specifically to mobile money, of the 18 million customers, at least 11 million use mobile money every 30 days. Those are active users. Yeah, over 11 million active users. And that means an opportunity for all our people that, the family and friends that we interact with to be able to receive money. We have over 170,000 agents that are serving these customers, 280,000 merchants. That is what speaks to the Momo Pay merchants that we were talking about earlier. What we are trying to do as, at MTN Momo is to try to digitize, try to go cashless. I found out that it was very difficult for me to use cash here, which is where we want to be. We have to use money in digital form. So even as you send money back home, we are saying those who receive the monies should be able to spend it digitally. And there are so many ways of spending money digitally. In terms of making payments, they will be able to pay for school fees, they'll be able to, pay for goods and services electronically as opposed to taking it out of the system. When money is picked, is taken out in cash, you tend to lose track of that money, what that money did. So even if you want to have visibility of what that money did, you will not be able to see it if it is taken out. So we do encourage our customers to spend money digitally. We now have, the number of merchants has surpassed the number of agents, like I mentioned earlier. 280,000 merchants versus 170,000 agents. It really shows you where we are, where the focus is going in terms of the business. My brother Sejaka spoke about the investments. We also have an investment product called Zeno Investments. Zeno Investments is a goal-based saving and investment solution that will enable you save for a particular goal for the future. You have a long-term objective. Probably you want to build a house. You want to acquire an asset in future, and therefore you're able to invest consistently and get a high return on that. I'll be able to share more details. I'll not be able to do that here, but after my remarks, I'll be able to. I'm still here up to Monday, so I'll be available to share more details. But part of the ways of investing that money, again, goes back to unit trust. Because for us to give a high yield, then again, we'll have to work with somewhere to be able to generate for that. So it's a partnership that we're talking about. Solomon talked about how much is being remitted. Now in 2022, it is estimated that at least 1.1 billion US dollars was received as remittances from the diaspora, of which MTN contributes 38% of that number, MTN mobile money. So about $420 million of that money was channeled through the MTN network. But that estimate certainly is not the true picture. The real amount could be much higher if you're to really track it. And that is cash. Some other funds, could have come in kind. But the real cash that we tracked, and this number is growing significantly. We anticipate a 20% growth in 2023. Yeah, in 2023. So if you factor in a 20% growth, you're talking of close to 1.4, 1.5 billion US dollars. We do anticipate to contribute at least 40%. At MTN, we are striving to ensure that we are getting the biggest share. With our big customer base, we are saying we have an opportunity to facilitate the ease of moving money from USA back home. Now, in terms of what is the contribution of USA, in terms of the $420 million US dollars that we collected last year, we are saying 25% of that number is coming from USA, 35% from UK. So UK is still doing, much higher, probably because the pound is much stronger. And then, but also probably we have more Ugandans in the UK. And then the other 40% comes from UAE and other countries. So it is a huge opportunity. And what the challenge it gives us is to continuously open, remittance channels. And that is why we have partnered with over 100 money transfer agents across the globe. But the notable ones, I will just mention quickly: World Remit, Western Union, Remitly, MoneyGram, RemitB, Choice Remit, RIA, Paysend, Boss Money, and so many others. We are still counting. We don't want to stop here. We want to make it as convenient as possible for every Ugandan to be able to send money back home. We recently rolled out a digital suite for the FMCG sector, where we are saying we are digitizing whatever has been formerly handled in terms of cash. It could be a business that you've started back home. It could be a distribution business. It could be, you could be into the agricultural sector. And therefore, we have tried to digitize whatever happens right from the farmer who does the planting, connect them to the sellers, and then, the retailers who then move upwards to the distributors. If you have a factory, then we're able to digitize, right from the raw materials to the production, but also the selling of those goods. So back and forth, we have ensured that the solution is availed to the business community. This then gives you visibility of how your business is doing, even when you're here. You could be having a business back home. You're able to track. We are able to give you a portal where you're able to log in and view whatever is happening in terms of the sales, what is being produced and how are they coming through. We are able to provide tracking services through our enterprise business unit. We'll be able to provide you tracking services. If you're in the transport sector, you're able to track how the fleet is actually performing. So that's a very powerful solution that we have designed for the FMCG sector, which then taps into the entire value chains if you are involved in that business. I think it's an opportunity for you to be able to track how your business is doing, no matter which part of the world you're in. So it is a task that we took on to ensure that we give convenience to our people across the globe. So, it used to be very difficult to send money in the past, but with the convenience that we have given you now, you're able to easily send money instantly back home. And even those who would want to spend that money, we have partnered with, the school fees aggregators. We're talking about school pay. We are working on a solution where you'll be able to send these funds directly to the SMEs. Today, you're sending money from person to person, but we are also working on a solution. We should be ready before March next year for you to be able to pay. For example, you'll be able to pay school fees directly to the school, or you'll be able to pay suppliers directly to their collection accounts. I think that's a solution that the people in the diaspora have been asking for, and that is coming very soon. Because in the past, you've sent money to an individual, and probably that money is not well accounted for. So we are saying we are opening up the solution where you will send funds directly to that company that you're paying. I think that's a big one that will be able to ensure that you also have more trust in terms of what your money is going to do. We also working on, we are cooking something very exciting where you'll be able to, make, use mobile money, MTN mobile money, even on a SIM card that is not MTN. Yeah, so we are opening up the service to SIM cards beyond MTN, and that is why you see the blue within our logo, which signifies that MTN mobile money will be available not just for the yellow SIM card, but any other SIM card. And I think that's going to be a very exciting proposition for you to be able to even use it within here as long as you download our app. No matter the network, you should be able to. So those are some of the exciting products that we're working on to ensure that we make it easy for you to transact conveniently within our platform. But from MTN, we would like to say a very big thank you for the support that you've given us, as the Diaspora team in Uganda. On my mind, I thought there were about 3,000, 4,000 Ugandans in Boston, to only be shocked when Ronnie told me the number of Ugandans living and working in Boston is over 30,000. Asimwe confirmed this to me, and I was out. I think it's a huge opportunity in terms of how we can support each other. Back home, for you to be able to, make investments back home, even as you work so hard. We appreciate the hard work that you're putting in, and the assurance we'll give you is that we'll continue to support you in terms of, building solutions that will suit your needs. And I'm happy to take up any other solutions that you might have that you can challenge us to develop. We'll be able to develop it. We have a fantastic platform that is able to, accommodate sophisticated solutions that we'll be able to work on. At MTN, we say, our belief is that everyone deserves the benefits of a modern, connected, but financially inclusive life. Yeah, so that is what drives us. That is what makes us wake up every morning to be able to, develop the solutions to ensure that we don't leave anyone behind. The smartphone penetration in Uganda is still very low. At MTN, it's just about 34, 35%. So that still gives us an opportunity to be able to tap into the other 65% that do not hold smartphones. How do we get more smartphones into the hands of our people? I think that remains a challenge, and that you will not get digitally connected if you don't have a smartphone. So we are saying yes, in our quest to get everyone digitally connected, we still have 65% of that customer base to be able to support with smartphone access. Of course, we have solutions where customers are able to get a smartphone and then they pay slowly later. We have the tech now. We also partner with M-Copper for customers to be able to get devices, and then pay over a period of time. All those are initiatives that we aim, that we've implemented to ensure that we quickly close that gap of the penetration of smartphones. We did launch 5G. Again, it's an opportunity for us to be able to, tap this into the businesses that we operate back home, but also an opportunity for us to digitize much faster. We recently received more spectrum from the Communications Commission, thanks to UCC. That then has given us the capacity to be able to offer a much faster, speed, internet speed, but also the experience, because then it means the highway is now much wider for us to be able to play onto it. So we look forward to, a much stronger 2023 in terms of, supporting you with the remittances, but also more products that make sense to you. So, and all this is in line with our ambition 2025, which is to build the largest fintech platform on the continent. And of course, that does not happen without your support. And at MTN Uganda specifically, we say when we come together, we become unstoppable. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Together we are unstoppable, MTN. Thank you very much, Richard Diego there. Richard, thank you. I can see some hands up, but they will answer the question. We'll have a Q&A session there. I also have my own question, but I think we'll get to that. Fascinating products from Momo Pay. And the fact that people here can pay directly to a service provider is going to be a game changer. Very, very, yeah, it's going to be a game changer. It's one thing sending money to a sister to pay school fees, and that sister has challenges and problems, and they first use the money, and then they say, "Well, when I get money, I'll top up and pay," than paying directly. Some of you are supporting people back home to pay school fees. You can easily pay direct to the school without going through a third party, and then you get a confirmation. I think that is amazing. And so Richard is going to be talking, with you during the break. But because we are running out of time, I want to say a special thank you to all of us who are here, but also those who are watching on BBS Telefine now. We're coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts. And we're also broadcasting on Diaspora TV. We've had an audience from Washington, some questions that were coming through from New York as well. We'll be reading out those questions to the people here, so thank you so much for watching. Ronnie was showing me some questions from Japan. A number of questions. I think the people in Japan also want to get some of these products to them, but thank you. All right, let me just invite the Deputy Director at NSSF here, Gerard Casato, to come and talk to us about what NSSF have to offer. I had an opportunity of working with NSSF when they were launching their housing project. I was showing these housing projects to my online team. Very, very fascinating project, I should add. And I cannot wait to hear him talking about it. There was someone who was telling me, "What do you think of those homes in Lubowa by NSSF? How much are they?" Yesterday. So, Gerard, you're very welcome. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Solomon, Ronnie Mayanja, and everyone who has been involved in putting this together. I must say thank you. My name is Gerard Paul Casato. I am the acting Deputy Managing Director, but I also hold the other role as a Chief Investment Officer. I am one of you. I studied in the diaspora. I studied abroad, just like many of you. So I've lived in the diaspora. I can relate with what you go through. I am here with my colleague, architect Adrian Rotaro at the back. And Solomon hinted on housing. We are here up to Monday. So we will be talking to you about a couple of solutions that we have on that front. But before I get into my presentation for the day, you notice it's not going to be as structured as I had wanted it to be, because it appears we do not have much time, but I can cope. Let me start with a story. IBM was formed in 1911. And basically what it was meant to do was to offer mainframe computers. But in the 70s and the early 80s, it pivoted into personal computers. That is because its core business of mainframe computers was being disrupted, and it needed to change. By doing so, it went into personal computers, but it could only do that for a while. In the 90s and the early 2000s, it actually pivoted again into software. Why is this important? The reason why this is important is because today, organizations or companies, it's not a given to stick to one business model forever. There's an old company, Japanese company called Congo Mogo. It has nothing to do with DRC, which started in 578 AD, and it went bust in 2006. That was Congo Mogo. It was it's actually the world's oldest company. So why this is important is because at NSSF, we realized that we are a company we are an organization that was set up by an act of parliament, which basically gives us a statutory mandate. The mandate is basically to do savings, as in collect money, invest, and give it out to people who qualify. But we also do realize that we cannot rely on the law alone, because it makes it look like some kind of conscription. We basically did our strategy a couple of years ago, in which case we came up with a purpose, and the purpose is a simple one: to make savings a way of life. The journey of doing that is still ongoing, but we are making good progress. The numbers today basically indicate that we have currently about 2.3 million members registered, out of a workforce of 19 or 20, depending on which statistic 20 million Ugandans. Basically, what that means is that very few people are saving for retirement. Now, the numbers even get worse when you try to delve further, because actually the only active members we have are about 800,000. And the people who have a balance saved on their account are about 1.5 million. Now, basically that means that the people we cover as a percentage of GDP, we have only 11% as a percentage of GDP. Compare that to countries like Japan or Asia, where the savings as a percentage of GDP are in excess of 30%, we are not doing well. So basically, we recently embarked on a strategy. And the strategy, we call it a Vision 2035, where, although the numbers are what they are, our aim is to cover at least 50% of the Uganda working population. And we aim to grow our asset base from 20 trillion, from 18.6 or 19 trillion to date to about 50 trillion by 2035. We also aim to improve our service delivery by 95%. That is, if you are getting services from NSSF, you rate us at least 95% satisfied on everything that we do. We also aim to ensure that our employees, they are engaged up to a percentage of 95%. So basically, currently we are the largest pension fund in East Africa. Our assets under management come to almost $6 billion. We have invested in 3 asset classes: fixed income, equities, and real estate. To date, our allocation is about 78% fixed income, 13% in equities, and 9% real estate. That is a modest or risk profile. So that is a modest or conservative risk profile for a fund of our size. So the idea of this particular convention, so the reason why this engagement with the Ugandans in the diaspora is important for us is because as we think about independence, I think it is also important to think about savings for retirement, because as I've indicated, the numbers that we are having are very low. We believe that we can make meaning to you whereby even when you're in the diaspora, you can continue to save for different things, right? And we've actually made it so easy these days because 94% of the customers who we interact with, they do it on the platforms, on the online channels. So you don't actually have to be in Uganda to engage with us. You can get it. You can log in. You can log in on our website. There are steps which you can make a contribution to save back home. We have a mobile app which you can download on your mobile phones. But while we are doing all this, we also here to try and learn and improve. So we are going to use part of these days interacting with you to also get feedback in how to improve. So the pitch today is basically twofold. Just as my friend Professor Sejaka was making a pitch for savings via collective investment schemes, where the minimum is $1,000, with NSSF, the minimum can be as low as 1,000 shillings, right? So the Act basically allows anyone between 16 years and 60 years to save with NSSF. How does the money come out? You get out the money in 6 ways. At 55, that's the retirement age. We call it the age benefit. We also have a provision at 50 when you're out of employment for 1 year. You can take out the money. We also have what we call invalidity benefit. We have survivor's grant. We have exempt employment, to mention but some. I know when the name NSSF comes or is mentioned to many people, some people get tempted to kind of associate it with things that are not going well. But actually, the reality is that we have a net promoter score which is 72%, probably one of the largest in East Africa. These are people who are willing to promote you to others. This means that you can take advantage of some of the things that we are currently having as products. But having said that, we have a specific product for the diaspora, which is what we call the diaspora product. You, as a Ugandan based wherever you are, you can take advantage. It's a voluntary savings product, and you can do it by using our app or even some of the online channels on the website that we have in place. Like I said, I have so much to say, but the time is limited, so I'm trying to get bits and pieces, right? But the good thing is that we are here for the whole of today, the whole of tomorrow, and Monday. But before I leave, I want to interest you into our housing project. As part of our real estate footprint includes doing office, retail, and residential houses. We have done this we've done this by undertaking a couple of projects. Among them is a project called Solana, Lifestyle and Residences. The problem in Uganda today or Kampala today, when you walk around, when you drive around some of the suburbs, you see very good houses, but with terrible infrastructure. So what we did at NSSF is we tried to come up with projects that give Ugandans an experience like the one you see when you go to places like Cape Town, or even recently Nairobi, right? So this is a project on 600 acres of land. The project is aimed to have around 3,000 houses. It is a mixed-use project. It has so many amenities that you cannot find anywhere. And we've done phase 1, which is 100% completed. It has 15 different house types. There are 32 different prices ranging from apartments, villas, townhouses, to mention but some. We have a website, and we're actually very active on the digital media. I think our advert on the digital channels has seen 1.7 or 1.5 million views in the last 3 months, which means that actually people are watching, right? Why is this one important? It is important because, like someone who has been in the diaspora, I know the struggle and the frustration you can have when you send money back home to actually build a house or even buy a piece of land. I have experienced this where things do not go according to the way you want them. Right? So what the NSSF is trying to do, it is trying to play that intermediary of a credible or a trusted partner. Because whatever happens, you have recourse to an institution, not just an individual. Right? If it is only Gerard or maybe Ronnie who's doing housing projects and you paid him maybe 100,000 or 150, well, he might deliver, but in the event that he didn't deliver, your recourse is to an individual. But with NSSF, your recourse is to an institution which has been there for a while. Whatever happens, you'll get paid. So, my pitch to you, fellow Ugandans in the diaspora, is that take advantage of some of the housing solutions we have. Lubowa seems to be on the high end of the market, but we have others. There's a project in Temangalo, which is also being undertaken currently at 50% completion. That one is going to have 3,500 homes. And again, we are going to have 15 house types. That particular project is targeting the affordable housing category. That is a price point of between $50,000 to $80,000. The one we have, you have a starting price range of about $200,000 and above. But like I said, there are 32 different there are 32 different prices. So we're here to engage, and we can show you the ways in which you can take advantage of those. The good news is that we've actually taken care of most of the issues that we've been getting from the people who have been looking at the houses. For instance, things like payment plan, we give you up to 5 years to complete the payment. For possession, if you pay up to 40%, you can take possession of the house. By possession, it means you either put in someone or you rent it out. Then for me, the big one is property management. Unlike, your house which you'll build, and then you have to look for money to either slash or clean, you're pretty certain in this particular investment that, look, things like cleaning, waste treatment, garbage collection, security, and the like will be catered for professionally. So even if you're not there for 1 full year, God forbid, and you have a house, you are certain that your property inside the house will be kept safe. Now, the issue is that that cannot be said for so many of the houses that people have on a standalone basis. That is one of the things that we bring to the table when it comes to some of these projects that we are doing. But like I said, this is just the start. We have in the pipeline about 2,000 housing homes that we are going to do between now and the next 3 to 5 years. And we hope that Ugandans in the diaspora can tap into them. Of course, we would have loved to do this faster, but the reality is that we are a highly regulated and can be a very bureaucratic institution, so we don't tend to move as fast as we can, but we are moving. So, in closing, I want to encourage you to take advantage of the housing opportunities we have. Like I said, the advantage you get from dealing with an institution is that you are certain that whatever happens, your recourse is to that institution. And with a balance sheet of $6 billion, it is almost certain that you can always, you can always get back whatever you would have paid to NSSF in the event things turned out to be not good. But then also, you take advantage of the diaspora savings product or solution that we put in the market. We are also trying to innovate by getting into the space of short-term savings products. We realize that this is the way to go, and that is why I started off by giving the example of IBM, because we've realized that we cannot continue to do things the way we were doing them in the old. We need to be agile. We need to take advantage of the changing business needs and the environment, and we need to be responsive to people's feedback and concerns. Finally, as I said, we are here not only to make a pitch, but also to take feedback. Feel free to reach out to me in areas where you want us to do things differently or things you don't want us to continue doing the way we've been doing them. Thank you so much. Solomon.
Thank you, Gerard. Thank you very much. And we're so blessed to have the big boys in the room and the big girls in the room. Yes. Deputy Managing Director of the National Social Security Fund, Gerard Kasato. Thank you very much for sharing those. The housing projects are amazing, and I would really encourage you to go on the NSSF website and look at them. They are absolutely amazing. So if there's a project that is coming up between $50,000 to $100,000, that's a big opportunity for us to invest back home. And I have just seen that Raphael Chilondu is really paying attention to that, because I hope that the Kenyans diaspora does not come in Uganda and buy all the, just decide to think about $2 million and say, okay, we are buying everything. Yeah, but thank you. We can't wait to hear from you. I want to now invite the head of retail banking, Johnson Galabuzi. Johnson is in charge of diaspora banking and Equiduka. My very good friend, Johnson Karibu. Let's hear from what the Equity Bank has to say. I need to add that I am a proud account holder of Equity Bank. Mr. Johnson Karibu.
Thank you very much, Solomon. Ladies and gentlemen, since we had a couple of stories, I'll also tell one quickly. I know we are time-bound. And mine is about a crocodile or an alligator. And you'll be wondering why I'm talking about an alligator or a crocodile. Now, a crocodile, do you know that you can practically slice a crocodile like a cake when you find it at a riverbank. You must be saying that I joke too much. I came all the way to joke. And I'll cut the long story short. Now, that reptile is a very funny animal. Some of you usually see them at the lake or river banks staying for a full week. It is not that it wants to be there. What happens to it is that when it eats to satisfaction, it gets paralyzed. And guys who know how to hunt it, feed it, and come and slice it like it's a piece of cake. Now, what happens is that the blood moves from every part of its body and concentrates because it doesn't chew, it just swallows. And it produces a lot of enzymes so that it's able to digest the food. So it gets into a state of paralysis. And that is what is happening to most of us because of the different products that have been, shared with you. Everybody is talking about banking. Everybody is talking about money transfer. And Johnson comes in and he's here again to talk about equity. And I'll tell you why I work for equity and why you need to work with equity in whatever you do. Now, Equity Bank is a 14 billion US dollar asset bank that is the biggest in the East African region. You can read about it. Google. We have that animal. We're present in 7 African countries, which include Ethiopia, DRC. We actually recently bought the biggest bank in DRC. We're in Tanzania, we're in Rwanda, we're in Uganda, we're in Kenya, and South Sudan, to mention. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be wondering why is Equity Bank aggressively following up on Diaspora? Because we know how big you are. We know the challenges that you've been facing back home to ensure that you get money back home, to ensure that you invest that money, and to ensure you get mileage from your developments back home. And that's why we have come to share with you that you have a listening, caring partner in Equity Bank, based on the products that I'm going to share quickly for you so that you're able to make your own personal decision and decide to work with us. The common ingredient in the previous presentations is Equity Bank, I'll tell you. We heard about somebody who wanted to move and invest in unit trusts out of DRC. We have a solution for you. Now, we have done well with technology. We are currently instantly opening accounts for you in Diaspora here at this convention for an account in Uganda and issuing a Visa debit card instantly for you to transact. Now, we all know these days that banking is not a building. It's not a place where you go to, but it is the services and the convenience that you get. And that is what we're here to present. In terms of remitting money back home and in terms of ensuring you have your bank in the palm of your hands. So, in there, we're able to ensure that we open your account instantly. We can try it. Issue the debit card. I mean, if I can issue it thousands of miles away, what about back home in Uganda? Then 2, simplifying remittance back home on your account directly. We have over 15 partners in terms of remittances. I've shared the brochures on the table. Please feel free to check them out. One of them is Remitly, that sends directly to your account in Equity Bank. Please do not forget that it is very possible for you to operate business, and you need not be in Uganda for starters. So we have brought convenience and, of course, flexibility on that front. Then we have the financing option. Adam and Eve story. Equity Bank is here to sort that for you. If you have property back home, if you want to acquire property back home, Equity Bank is a go-to place. We were able to do the due diligence for you because we are co-investors in that project that you are doing, and we'll take very good care for it. So please feel free to talk to us. We have a table outside that is supporting in terms of account opening and our offering in terms of financing property back home and even businesses. So in terms of the accounts, we have a savings account, we have a current account, we have an investment club for those who are pulling money together. We have what we call a business account for the businesses that are running in diaspora. It is possible for you to transact in the comfort of your home while you're in the USA. Then we are also big on digital banking. 95% of all our transactions today are not in the banking hall. You can check with us. So that means we have mastered the art of making sure that your money is secure digitally. So please try us out and you will get the difference. Then we have close to 9,000 agents, the Equiducas, back home. What that means, on top of the 50 branches that we have in Uganda, you have 9,000 other outlets to which you can remit your money and ensure you're following up on your projects. So with our standalone platform, Pay with Equity, we have close to 50,000 points of sales where you can also actively participate and ensure that your money is safe and it is moving from hand to hand. In terms of financing, we have plot purchase, ladies and gentlemen. We have what we call equity release. Some of us have property that is seated back home. You want the initial amount to try and acquire something from NSSF, and you have to work to get the 40%. I have good news for you. Why not talk to us? We give you the 40%, acquire the property at NSSF, and then keep on paying us in easy, manageable installments. So even for the project, by the way, NSSF is also one of our shareholders with 2.5% in Equity Bank, Uganda. So thank you very much, our shareholders. So that's why we try to partner with people like NSSF to ensure that we are solid on the ground. Finally, I want to tickle your minds a bit and ask, why ain't you remitting money, or why ain't you doing something back home in Uganda if you are not doing it? Now, when my managing director was presenting at UNA, he shared that it's only in Uganda where you can buy something at $30 and sell it at close to $100. And you can check on that, depending on what you're selling. The interest rates may look like they are high, but the rate of return on investment is amazing if you put your mind to it. Even when you're going to invest in the unit trusts and so on, you need to collect the money from somewhere, get it in there, and then decide where to invest. I believe in diversifying investments. You have a bit of unit trusts, you're doing construction, you are running a certain, small project on the side. I mean, you sometimes, we do a lot of concentration in terms of investment. And if anything happens, you regret totally. Now, Equity Bank will help you diversify that investment for you. So one, secure remittance of money. Please try us. You will not be disappointed. Two, financing options for you. It does no harm for you to find out what is happening at Equity. It is only selfish that you think that you're okay and comfortable with whatever you're enjoying. Nobody will basically push it down your throat, but sometimes find out and get competitive advantage. Now, I want you to enjoy the competition amongst the banks. Enjoy it. Find out what is being offered by Equity Bank. We are here until the 14th. We have extended even for another week to ensure that we convince you and ensure that we deliver on our promise. Please do not forget, we are opening accounts instantly. You walk away with your card. And I think we're the first to do it in the East African region. So feel free and come and join us at Equity Bank. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Johnson, first come. So where did the crocodile story that was paralyzed?
Yes, the crocodile story is about whatever we have on offer. We have a lot of, I think, a buffet of financial services that are being, given to us. And at one point in time, you get paralyzed and you're like, okay, I think now let me just stay here because there are a lot of things all over me. So we're telling you Equity Bank is here to try and get you out of that paralysis, to give you an option on what you can enjoy in the financial sector.
Johnson Galabuzi, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Johnson is the head of retail banking, in charge of diaspora banking.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
Okay. 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 He will answer to that. We're just running out of time. Johnson, in 30 seconds, your interest rates are 20%.
Now, actually, this is an opportunity for me to tell you that we're also participating in the Airtel IPO, so you can buy shares. We're also a primary dealer of government securities at Equity Bank, so feel free if you want to invest. Now, why I brought that up, I'll give you an example that if you were to invest in a 20-year bond, government is paying 16.5%. Now, yes, I am coming to you. Now, people have options, just like I presented to you. You have an option to either invest your money in the bank so that it is lent out to somebody else, because we all know how banks operate. We're allowed to lend up to 60% of our deposits. So if you deposit it with me, and there's an option for somebody to invest in a government paper of 16.5%, they'll not give you that money. So it means I'll give you mad fixed deposit rates in order for me to compete with government paper, right? So that means if government is, giving 16.5%, and for lack of a better example, I'm getting that deposit from you and paying you, for example, 14 or 15%. For me to be able to break even, I need to give it to you at 20%. Basic, in that way. So there are a lot of factors along the way that push us to the 20%. The cost of funds, the risk that is involved in the lending, and a couple of other issues. Thank you very much, sir.
Johnson, thank you. I don't know, Bishop, if he's convinced, but thank you very much. The thing about interest rates are funny. It's a long story, including something that Johnson didn't tell you. Sometimes government goes to the commercial banks and gets money. And that means they are less risky, and you're more risky. So then their interest rate goes up because government is doing internal borrowing. So there's so many factors that come in when banks are really looking at interest rates, the risk factors and everything. But he's available until the 14th. Johnson Galabuzi, thank you very, very much. Today in the room, I think only men have spoken. It's only fair that we bring in a woman. And we're really excited to have Olivia Nakakande, Miss Uganda 2019, with us here. She's working. She's just released her new book, The Escape, and it's available, yeah. She just flew in from Dubai, and she's really also into the real estate sector and encouraging Ugandans to invest. Olivia, you're very, very welcome. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sibawulira, I think Mr. DJ, give us like a small song and we'll stretch because people are sleeping. I think they don't want to hear about money stories. I'm not going to talk about money, but let's stretch a little bit. I've seen so many people sleeping. Mr. DJ, just like a small to stretch. A small music, please. For 10 seconds, please. Let's get up and stretch a bit. It's good for our health. Yes. Digitally. Very good, very good. Right? Okay. So we didn't have the music, but we'll go ahead. You may take your seats. Oh, you people want to dance, eh? Let's take our seats. We'll dance later. So my name is Oliver Nakakande. I am Miss Uganda 2019, 2020, 2021. Some people refer to me as the pandemic queen because I reigned through the pandemic during COVID. It wasn't really easy, but we did it. So a bit about myself. I'm a fashion model and I'm based in Dubai. I work between Dubai and Uganda. So I do real estate. If you happen to come to Dubai and you're interested into buying property, reach out to me. I have some cards over there. And also, I recently became an author with my new book, The Escape. I will talk to you about this later when you visit the table. It's basically a memoir, a story of my life. And I wrote this book to inspire young girls, especially in Uganda, that are trying to escape certain situations. So I'm going to be very brief because I know we are very, very late. So I am here today to share a bit about what I'm doing and especially my book, which is available on Amazon, and it's only $35. But you can grab a copy today here with me. And in Uganda, those that are watching from Uganda, the book is selling at Aristoc, all of the stores in Uganda. So all the profits that are collected from this book, 100% are proceeding to the foundation that I created in 2022, which is the Oliver Nakakande Foundation. So what we do here, we cater and we try our best to give second chances to teenage moms to go back to school. I believe as Ugandans, we have a very high rate of teenage pregnancies. During my reign as Miss Uganda, I saw 12, 13, 14-year-olds, being moms. It's like a child giving birth to a child. And the fact that they lose all the hope to go back to school and they just hate their lives. So we set up this foundation to support them. So when you buy a copy of The Escape, you do support a teenage mother and give them a chance to education. Talking about education, I love education, and I'm currently doing my master's in business, in marketing communications and brand management. That is at Middlesex University, Dubai. And also, talking about Dubai, I love the diaspora. And I feel like if people are watching and interested in studying, living, also working in Dubai, they can reach out to me and we can talk about that. So the issues that face the diaspora are not just here in the United States, everywhere. They are the same. So I'm glad to share this platform. And honestly, I want to thank Mr. Ronnie Mayanja for this opportunity because you've worked so hard to bring this community together. This is something that we lack very hardly in the Middle East. Also, I want to say thank you to the sponsors today, especially MTN. Mr. Richard, I am a very huge customer of MTN. So the fact that you talked about how we can transfer and pay bills directly, I pay school fees in Dubai directly to the schools, and I didn't know it's not happening in the United States. So thank you for taking care of us first. We appreciate that, but I really appreciate the services that all of the sponsors are doing. So I'm not going to speak any further. I would like to please invite you to check out my new book, The Escape, How I Ran from Shame to Fame. This is a story, a memoir about my life. I grew up in Kawempe, so me being here and standing here and talking to all of you is such a pleasure. Thank you very much. So I hope that I really inspire so many young girls, especially in Uganda, to take up space and show up and show off. I know many people have been asking, where is your crown? Where is your crown? Let me tell you something about the crown. The crown usually sits in your heart. It doesn't have to be something that you always have to be wearing all the time. But I promise you that tomorrow, because I'm going to be hosting the fashion runway right here, so I'm going to be wearing that crown. So I think people will be recognizing me more. So I'll look more like this girl here tomorrow. But thank you very much, Mr. Solomon Seranja. I think you have a beautiful day. Thank you very much.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
Kissing her line at the dinner. So we cannot wait to host you tomorrow. It's going to be a great evening. She has also published this book, and a couple of copies are right there. You can pass by and support her. Speaking of books, Mr. Katende is also just completed his latest book. Why don't you come and speak to us about that book in a minute, and then we can prepare for our keynote and other speakers. Mr. Robert Katende, let's love on him. For some of you who don't know Mr. Robert Katende, he was the mind behind The Queen of Katwe. We all remember that film. It's his story, basically. Karibu, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Solomon. And my brother, I call him the investor because Ron Mayanja has really invested in our vision and mission. And I want also to thank everyone who stand up for this event, this edition. I have an organization that I set up in 2017, thanks to Ron Mayanja again. I know you may not remember that. When I got 2 of our children from Katwe slums an opportunity to study from USA, it was very challenging because we needed to pay for boarding and meals because they had been given a tuition scholarship. So that's when Ron said, why don't you start a 501c3 in US that we can do a GoFundMe page? And that's what gave birth to Robert Katende Initiative. What is our vision and mission is to restore hope and transform lives. And we use chess as a platform. We set the learners who come from the underserved communities or who have lives that have been written off, that we get to get them back. And we open up a world of possibilities for them in form of play. And then they get education as a way of breaking the vicious cycle of illiteracy and slum life. I just want to make a quote here, which is in my new book. This shares some of you who have watched the movie Queen of Katwe, which I think makes Uganda more proud. Before that movie, I used to go and travel in the countries out of Uganda, and I say, I'm from Uganda. They say, oh, Idi Amin. Wherever I would go, Idi Amin. Now, being the person behind the story that has changed the narrative of Uganda, I think it's quite a delight for me. Right now, wherever you go, say, oh, Queen of Katwe, we've watched that movie. And the beauty of it all is that it was shot on location. So if you watch it, you can actually identify with some of the places there. There is a quote here from China, I believe, that if you are planning for a year, you grow rice. If you're planning for 20 years, you grow trees. But if you're planning for centuries, you have to grow people. What we do, we invest the lives of the younger children. I will wrap up by sharing some great stories. I know some of you have watched the movie. You remember Fiona Mutesi, one of the girls. She graduated 2 years ago from Northwest University. She got enrolled to Microsoft, and she's been working at Microsoft for the last 2 years. 2 months back, she's now a business consultant with Detroit. Benjamin, the little boy, identifies himself so much with a snap after winning his game. He also graduated 2 years ago. Then Duke University gave him another scholarship. And in May this year, he graduated with his master's in global health. Yesterday, when I arrived here, I was on the call with him. I hope to see him next week when I go to North Carolina. Duke has decided to retain him so that he can pursue his medical course and becomes a neurosurgeon. That's what we mean by investing in people. So I call upon you, please consider, there is a book. We have a table over there with Brother Bracker, and I want to appreciate Ronnie. Ronnie, this is a teamwork. And you don't know what you've done, but you are a great, great supporter of our vision and mission. We've been able to impact over 25,000 children since 2004. Currently, we are from Uganda, but in Uganda we have 47 centers across the whole country, in Gulu, in Budaka, in Hoima, in Masaka, in Jinja, and we are continuing even in Rwanda and Kenya, sharing the philosophy of investing in young people, using chess, and we set them on a transformational life trajectory. Thank you very much.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
Wow. It's good to follow up on those children and to hear that they're doing well. It's from the Lugave clan. How many are from the Lugave clan here? Okay, we have 2. And from the mighty Mamba clan? Those are Mtula Babanagi. Hey, always the majority, mighty as we are. Speaking about education, we're really privileged to have in the room Professor Hugo Kamia. To really sink us deep, Professor Hugo Kamia is a professor and associate director, School of Social Works at Simmons University in Boston, to really talk about the education opportunities in Boston, Massachusetts. Professor Kamia, you're loved. I hear people saying yes, yes, yes. Professor, karibu. By the way, since Professor is here, I'm looking for a placement for a PhD, to do a PhD in journalism. So the fact that you're here, I will give you that task, please.
Thank you. Definitely, let's talk after this. Thank you so much again, Ronnie and Salmon. It's a pleasure to be part of this gathering, and thank you for inviting me and for all the sponsors and people. First of all, I'd like to, since stories have been the theme of the day, wonderful, I just wanted that I also share with you a very simple story. A sage, a wise person, was walking by the beach. And sometimes when we think about a sage, we think about a man, but think about a sage, it could be a woman too. So a sage was walking by the beach, and as the sage walked by the beach, the sage ran into a young person. Very often we think about that young person as a young boy, but think about that as a girl or a boy. And the young person was holding a kite in the hand, and the sage tells the young person, "Oh, young person, young little person, what are you doing?" And the little person said, "Guess." And they said, "Well, I think you are playing with a kite." And the little person looks at the sage and says, "No, I'm not playing with a kite. I'm playing with the wind." So the stories we've been hearing here are all, think about I'm playing with the wind. It's thinking outside the box. As I think about these stories, I really want to say that education is an investment. We've heard Mr. Katende talk about it. We've heard all of these people talk about what they're doing. It's just not come out of the blue. It has come out of an educational opportunity they have had and that they are making that education opportunity thinking outside the box to make a difference. So that's the way I'm looking at education. Massachusetts, where the diaspora is, and of course all over the US, is the mecca of learning and education. One of the top opportunities for learning is here in Massachusetts. Some statistics would be helpful here. It's the third lowest dropout rate. It has also the second highest in math test scores. It's the fifth highest dollar spent on a student. And it ranks the fifth in the nation. That's really something not to really take easy. And it ranks the first for student success. So we are in a very rich educational opportunity. And how has this happened? Most of this has happened by the state spending its highest dollar and overhaul the school funding, especially for people in low-income districts. Now, as I speak about this, where does all of this belong? It begins with you and your family and your home, your values, your teachings, your beliefs, your spirituality. The passion, the power, the trust, the hope, the faith, the love, the care, the hard work, the courage, the persistence, the perseverance that you give your children really are the hallmark of education. Education is the future for our children and our children's children. Opportunities are available. I want you to seek them out. Reach out to the teachers in the elementary schools, in the middle schools, in the high schools. Seek them out. Network with them. Ask questions and be curious. Let's shape a new narrative. Let's tell new stories. And I think as an investment, here in the diaspora, we need to invest, we need to save, we need to futurize. Because education is an investment, a saving, a future. So, getting back to the kite story, let's play with the wind. Reach out to us, talk to us. Education is key. And I will follow up with you, Solomon, because really it's not just primary school, middle school, high school. It is undergraduate college, graduate college, and PhDs. You can get there if you make the investment. The school that I teach at, I'm a professor at Simmons University, is one of the high leading university for women's education. We need to invest in women's education. And I'm so glad that we have Olivia Nakakande and all the women in this room, because that's the future of our education. Thank you.
Professor Hugo, thank you very much. Can we love on him once again? Every time, I just love this thing about women. Every time they talk about them, they come together and just cheer people on. There's that unity women have. On every platform I've been at, if anyone speaks about women, everyone gang up and just keep pushing them. So, yes, women need to be educated as well. Okay, thank you very, very much. Are you having fun? Are you learning something? I have learned a lot from this gathering, and I've already made some decisions basing on the presentations that have so far been made. Let's go back to investment. Geoffrey Semaganda, Karibu. Geoffrey works with the Action Wealth International. He's the CEO there. He's also a financial expert, and we're really excited to have him. Geoffrey Semaganda, Karibu. He just flew in from London, where he's headquartered. Geoffrey, Karibu, thank you so much for coming.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. Okay, I'm Geoffrey Semaganda. I don't have a story. But I can give you the real story. I left Uganda when I was 14 years old, 32 years ago. I came to London, I was 14 years old. I couldn't speak English, but I did learn something. That when you can't do something, someone else can do it for you. So I set up my first business when I was 16 years old. Ever since, I've been teaching wealth creation strategies. If you know me, I speak. If you know me, I ask you to get up and get moving. If you know me, I've asked you to write a book. If you know me, I've asked you to learn to live where you are. Let me repeat. Wherever you are, be there. For most of my brothers and sisters, the body is here, but the mind is where? They watch TV from Uganda. They speak Luganda. They eat Ugandan food. Everything's about what? Uganda. I was in the supermarket yesterday, I can't remember which supermarket, and there's an advert of a job, of a meats manager. I didn't even know there's such a job, a meats manager. And the pay was $65,000, basic. $75,000. Then I thought about this. $65,000 for somebody who's going to organize meat. Here, I train people that somebody, an extra room in your bedroom, you can make between $45,000 to $70,000 extra. But you get your cousin to live in there rent-free. You can best drive Uber, and you can take a little job on the side and make an extra $50,000 to $70,000 extra. You can hire your car. You can do a part-time job on the side and go on these websites and get a job extra for just a little hour. You can learn to put your money to work for you, compound interest. People talk about this today here in the United States. And you can basically have your money work for you. Next 10 years, you can actually retire. You need to learn to make money first. You live here. This is an economy. Come on, man. The average income in the United States is $80,000 a year. The average income in Uganda is $2,000 a year. But you want to bring the knowledge from Uganda to teach someone to make money here? Are you completely got out of your mind? I'm not here to make friends. I have enough. But for those who are seriously sick and tired being sick, I'm too old to be having this conversation. I've been supporting the Ugandan Convention in the UK for the last 12 years, and I stopped. If I'm coming here, you got to teach me something. I live where? I live here. Teach me something where? How to make money where? How to live where? Learn to make money here. And in the United States, it's a joke. First time I came here, I came to New York City. We have an office in New York in 1995. We come here to learn, to take strategies back where? In the UK first, forget here, forget home. We come from London to come here to do what? To learn. You live in the country, everything's available in your fingertips, just like this. But I see my brothers and sisters, I went to cut my hair yesterday, and people talk like in Uganda, even they walk like this. Come on, man. The gentleman who basically paid me to be here, they ran a financial literacy program. We have a table at the back. There's nothing there, by the way. Don't worry about that. But the guy, the amount of money he's paying me to be here, I went to spend time with them. I'm seeing people who can't even speak. You need to understand, East Africans, I'm sorry to say, some of us too educated, too informed. But these guys, they make more money, and you can't even think they even know what they're doing. But because they have aggression, and they have a determined effort and a goal, they're going somewhere, they're moving. To have a room like this and some chairs are empty, come on, man. You know why it has to be? You know, Ronnie is my friend. He's the only person I've ever actually Yeah. He gave me 5 minutes. I'm going to take 2 more. He's the only person I've ever visited. I've been coming to Boston. Those are my 5 minutes. Ronnie invited me to go to Canada, and I went to his event in Canada and had a few talks there. I've been supporting the Ugandan community in the UK for the last 12 years, and I stopped. Because I'm asking people like Ronnie who organize these events, but you need to bring people who live here to teach how life here works. Okay? Please understand, you want us to invest in Uganda? $1 billion, $1.1 billion sending home. That's chicken fee, guys. Chicken fee. Our people make the least money because they don't know how. What if they were to learn how to make money? How much would you invest home? Just imagine. You can't give me somebody and spend 1 year with you, not to bureau credit, be able to access $100,000, just an extra money. There's no way it's not possible. People are doing it here today. The only difference is we don't run events where we educate people to grow, to be better, stronger, wiser, more competent. If you read 1 book a week on 1 subject, in 1 year you join the top 10 experts in the world here in the United States. If you have Audible, listening to audio, instead of watching music and listening to music like a music producer, just 1 audio per week, you become an expert. In 12 months from now, you can do anything you want in the country where everything's available, but we are wasting our time. And by the way, we're getting old, okay? When I came to the UK, the first person I met said, we're going back home. You going back where? Where? You see, 32 years out of home. By the way, COVID caught me in Uganda. I set up an office in Uganda. I've been in Uganda for the last 3 years. I've been spending more time back home. This whole fantasy of going back home, let's get real. When you get old, what do you need? Medical care. Where are you going to get that medical care? Where, in Uganda? Are you serious? Should we go home? Yes, we are. But we're going home smartly. We're investing in our people. We're building schools. We're helping our government. We're becoming consultants. Every single person I meet, you need to share something that you know. If you know to share, if you don't share it, you're not learning. A teacher, you're a teacher, sir? Every single one of us is a teacher, right? What do we teach? We teach because we're going to grow. A teacher benefits the most. A lecture can take you 1 hour to deliver, can take you a month to put together, which means you learn more. Every single diaspora, you know something. If you met me, I told you this. I said, if you have nothing to teach back home, don't go. They shouldn't give you a visa. If you have nothing to share back home, if you learn nothing here, why should you go home? Stay here. This country is so rich, they can keep you here. Our countries are too poor to bring somebody who have nothing to offer. But here's the opportunity, and I leave you with this. Just imagine whatever you do. A nurse. Document what you know, what you were, practice where you are, go home, share it back home, learn what's happening, come back. Here they will think you're somebody special, and over there they think you're someone special. Before you know it, you are growing. So for me, I got tired of explaining this. So I've just created a program. I'm not here to pitch anything. I'm not selling anything, okay? But I'm creating a diaspora wealth building mindset program. It's a 12 months free training program. I'm going to let you access to for free. But the reason why I'm doing that, because 1, I'm too old. I've been working since I was 8 years old. If you've been doing that for the last 35 years, trust me. No, you're old. Age has nothing to do with it. I sleep 4 hours a day. I spend less time with my children. I'm always on the move. So yes, no. But the time now is here. 90% of your jobs are gone because AI is taking them away. Okay? Some of you don't even know what you're doing today. We spend our time watching stuff don't even matter. And this is the worst thing is, financial literacy is taught where? Where's financial literacy taught? Where? At home. Financial education educated where? At home. You are teaching your children about money. What do you know about money? Should you be scared? So here's my little tip. Make a decision when you leave here and decide to educate yourself how money works. Sir, it doesn't matter how much the opportunity give us today. If we don't know, we won't believe you. We're going to tell you a thief. We don't trust Ugandans. We don't trust banks. They don't even trust the banks here. So if you don't know, you don't know. Thank you so much. But I'm asking you and I'm begging you. Your time is running. Your kids are growing up. My daughter, she's now 23, meaning that I don't have that much time to waste anymore. If you want to move, we move together. If you don't want to move, God loves you. But the marketplace doesn't care. Pastor, Bishop, God loves those people in this country moving. Okay? So my program is simple. I'm going to teach you how to make money, how to keep more of that money. Because some of you spending money like crazy when you shouldn't be. How to make it work, multiply that money, and then you have to protect it. Then after that, transfer what? You have enough to transfer. Make, manage, multiply, protect, and then do what? Transfer. I'll be at the back if you have any question. I thank my brother here. I know it's not his running events. Please, before I leave, we might not see each other again. Let's give him a big round of applause because you might not get a chance. And if you watch this and you're part of the diaspora, I guarantee you, next time you come to these events, there'll be more than just people from Uganda, the people from here teaching you how to live here, how to grow here, how to make a difference back home from here. Thank you. God bless you. Love you.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
We love on him once again.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
All right. We're coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts. And thank you so much for watching, for everyone who is watching on Diaspora TV, from New York, from London, from Japan. Thank you. I hope you are learning a word or two. Speaking of making money here, our keynote speaker is ready. Raphael Chilondo, thank you very much for accepting to be our keynote speaker today. Come and talk to us about making money here and how the Kenyans do it, amass the wealth, and invest it back home. Karibu. Welcome once again to our keynote speaker. Karibu, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Karibu.
Oh my goodness. You have all these nice discussions going on with key speakers. Thank you. And all of you have spoken before me. I have a story too to tell. And mine is simple. I'm your cousin from Kenya, just across that line that should not be there. My dad studied in Uganda many, many years in the 50s. And he came back to Kenya. I don't know if it all started with me there for them to come that way. I don't know. I have no idea. Exactly. And then, for some reason, as I was growing up, I would see my father's friends from Uganda and their children come to our house. And then I would see ladies speak to my dad with a lot of honor and dignity. They would actually kneel. And that really shook me. I was like, Daddy, what's going on here? He said, no, that's what we are as Africans in the culture of respect within the community. Thank you so very much for that. Ronnie, this man, and Madam Afande are people who have represented the Ugandan community very far and wide. And it's important I tell you this as your cousin from Kenya. We sit in forums in the diaspora that touch on the lives of the African diaspora. Countries in Africa that have common interests. We are talking about the countries within the Horn of Africa, and we are talking about institutions and organizations that make a difference in our lives, in our different diasporas. I have known Ronnie for many years, in many forums, when I used to have a lot of functions going on with the Kenyan Embassy and other activities we used to have when we were beginning the Kenya USA Diaspora Circle. And we lost touch until we met again at the United Nations meeting early in the year. And the story that he had then, back in the day, is the same story he had for me when I met him. He said, whatever you guys are doing in Kenya, you must bring it to Uganda. And I looked and I said, this is an opportunity that I will not say no to. Then I had a moment to meet with Afande. At the same forum, we met a lot of Ugandan dignitaries and, of course, people from other communities within the East African region. Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and, of course, people who represent the US and other nations. And out of the conversation that came out of there, I realized that there's something us Kenyans have done well that can be replicated in other areas. It's about copying and pasting. So we are going to do exactly that. For me, it's to know exactly what it is that you're going to get out of this, because if we don't do what we are speaking out here to the Ugandan community that is living in, and thank you for actually telling me that you are about 30,000 of you here. Now that marries into what he's actually saying. We live here, but what are we doing about ourselves in here? That's a conversation you're going to have. Now, I had a theme about the power of leveraging human capital and resources. In other words, what you also said when you said, we are all here. What do we do to harness and bring in all these resources that we have in here for the betterment of each individually, for the benefit of all of us collectively, as a country, as a diaspora from Uganda, and maybe the East African larger community. When you look at all these signs up here, I know the history of equity from Kenya. We, as a Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO, have a history with Equity Bank. We have something to do with NSSF in Kenya. We are part of that. We also have a part in a lot of these names that you're actually seeing in here, sending money from the US or other parts of the world to Kenya. We've done that very, very well. Now, the conversation here that I want to leave and give you and be a part of is just threefold. And what I want us to do is we have to identify ourselves as a community that must come together. If somebody has done it, so can we. It's not a matter of starting anything afresh. I mean, it has been done elsewhere, we can do it, and for the betterment of ourselves. So I have had the privilege of being a founder of the largest Kenyan USA diaspora. And I think when I talk about a diaspora SACCO, it's not very foreign to the Ugandans, because I have been following what has been happening in Kenya with the Ugandan community. I've seen Ugandan investors going to Malindi, Mombasa, the coastal area, trying to look for assets or something. I've seen them go there. I've seen Ugandan officials come into Kenya to benchmark with regulatory offices in Nairobi. I'm talking about the organization that regulates SACCOs in Kenya. It's known as SASRA. And I've also seen the partnerships between what is happening in Kenya and what is happening in Uganda. So this is not foreign to me. It's not foreign to us. So we are one and the same. So what is happening here is also what is happening out in Kenya. Before I forget, I'm also with a very close friend of mine. He is the secretary, honorary secretary of the Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO. He has a very big portfolio in there. He's the one who's actually in the executive in there, Mr. Isaac Casera. Isaac lives in Boston, and when he heard I was coming over, he said, Chair, I'm Chair Emeritus right now. I mean, when you birth a baby, when the baby grows big and it's able to move on its own, it can actually go and then you do other things. So I think this is also an opportunity that has come for me to create some time and see whether I can work with my Ugandan cousins to see whether we can do something together. And I've been having those discussions with Ronnie and Madam Maureen, and I think it is something we're going to do. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is this. We have been able to bring collectively the Kenyans who are interested in investments. Remember, not every activity that can be done by a group of people fits the same prism. There are people who are interested in something else. There are others who are interested in this or the other. I want to address the people who are interested in investments, people who want to make something of their own from where they are to where they came from, to the larger good of the country, because at the end of the day, it is Uganda that benefits heavily. And when Uganda flourishes in terms of these investments and savings, the whole region benefits. I mean, you're talking about all of us within that area. So it's a good thing when we all have the same kind of mindset and figure out how we're going to do all this. So we came together and decided we are going to form a diaspora circle. Fortunately, we have those mechanisms that are established within the Kenyan government system where we have circles. We launched the first circle outside of Kenya, and we would traverse the country. We have traveled many miles over. This is a very big country of 300 million people, if not more. You can imagine using your own money, running and trying to look for Kenyans in every epithet in this place to tell them what is actually happening. We came to Boston, we camped in here. This was the first place we came to. And fortunately, a long story short, we have been able to be adopted by all the Kenyans. Not all of them are members, but we have a specific set number of people who believe in what savings and credit can do for an individual. Those are our target people. I had somebody talk about, I think it's one of these two gentlemen here, who said there are people who are dormant in those institutions that they do serve. Because you can't force people to contribute religiously as they should. But when you look at it in the long run, through education, people can get to know the benefits of having all these entities running together for their benefit. So it is possible to form an institution that is investment in nature, that takes care of a lot of these things that we have here. Actually, everything that has been said here, at the end of the day, if you organize yourselves as Ugandan citizens in America, you can form one entity that makes it very easy for each of your efforts to be actually conducted collectively and make the work very easy. Because when you all come together, you own this entity. Like we own our circle, it belongs to the members. You have a sector, you have a section of the leadership. Who is among you? A board of 9. Then you have an office that is run by a CEO. And then you have certain areas that we can actually work on to make sure they are just copy and print paste of what you actually have. All these products you're having here, whether you're talking about social security, whether you're talking about building those houses, whether you're talking about education, like what Promolimu is talking about here, these are things you can easily fund. I hear the Ugandans here making a lot of money, but they don't know where to take that money. Honestly, you people, the time is now when you have to sit and look at yourself and see what it is that you can do individually and collectively. Sending money through that entity, what we have done is we have organized ourselves in such a way that once somebody becomes a member of this entity, you become a shareholder automatically. A shareholder that gives you certain rights that allow you to manage that entity corporately. Number one, you become a shareholder. Number two, you become the decision makers of what your products are going to be like. Products can be anything. You can say you're going to buy a building in the US. You can say you're going to do something in Uganda. You can even buy anything in Kenya because you have the numbers within yourselves and you have the money in there. Now, once you become a shareholder, then you also come to this other area where you're supposed to be contributing monthly, the savings. Circles are savings and credit. So what we do is we build our savings portfolio within ourselves. Stop being afraid that your money is going to be taken or going to be used in a bad way. No, we have entities like Equity Bank. When you form the circle here, what you're going to do is you're going to talk to Equity or whichever other bank that is in Uganda, for example, and they become your accounting, your banking a bank where your money will be sitting. But you can manage that account from here. So you do things corporately, whereby you're making decisions from, people can take individual loans from there to develop themselves in Uganda, or even here. We do that. People build businesses here through the circle that we have. All our money goes to Kenya. We don't hold any money here. Let me make that correction. Don't be worried about what happens about regulation. No. You individually, in your savings account within that entity, you send that money to the bank account that belongs to that entity in Uganda. Now, you now have your operations from that account, and you have a local office in Uganda because, of course, there has to be somewhere where the Ugandans can actually come locally to do any activity that they need to do in the country. And you need to open it up. It can start in Boston with the 30,000 people that you do have, and then you open it up to the entire Ugandan diaspora, wherever they are. Because you people have a common bond. You are Ugandans, you have a Ugandan ID, you have a Ugandan passport. Those are the requisite requirements to have you become members of that entity. Then after that, you can now start running the entity the way ours is running. We can work on all those modalities, and we'll show you exactly how that is done. You can be an effective force to all the activities that have been displayed here. in America and in Uganda at the same time. You can even now decide to use what we have as a circle because we also have assets in Kenya that you can be a part of. Ever heard of Malindi? We have homes that you're putting up there for Kenya, the Kenyan diaspora. We have homes that are going for 2 and 3 bedrooms that belong to people who live here and their children. And it's a cosmopolitan place where you find there are a lot of Italians in there. It's just down the beach. You just catch a flight from Malindi. You go to Uganda, it's an hour's flight. And then when you're not even there, you can even have it as an Airbnb. It's an opportunity that you have. You can invest anywhere. If you're investing in America, you can invest in Uganda, you can invest anywhere. But it's good to know that your core business, your core activities are centered towards what you are as Ugandans. That can be set clearly by the rules that you're going to set up when the organization is actually formally formed. That your investments are going to be in this nature. Once you collect funds, you're going to invest in certain institutions. You're going to lend money to each other. Now, the money that you're saving among yourselves, you can always say that, for example, in a month, if you're a member of this entity, you must contribute at a minimum. Say an example, $50. If you have 30,000 people, take a fraction of those. Say about 10% of those 30,000 people contribute $50 in a month. That is a pool that can be used to fund just one of you people who has an economic need. Maybe somebody has to go to school in Uganda. Somebody has to build a house somewhere in the country. Somebody has to improve on their business here. That entity will be able to do those things collectively. And the interest earned from the loans that you are actually giving out from that entity, they become a collective responsibility. For all of you, you actually earn from that entity collectively, and you earn dividends at the end of the year. So it's a win-win for you, and you're the ones who are managing the entity. So we will definitely have discussions here. I'm here today and tomorrow. We are going to talk a little bit more, but what I wanted to say is that collectively, you can do a lot of good for yourselves individually. You can do a lot of good for yourselves as a country. You can also do very good for yourselves as an African diaspora community, because we also got to meet each other because of what we do as diasporas from those East African regions. What is key is to believe in the leadership that you have. You must support your leaders. I don't know them personally that much because I don't remember the last time we ever interacted with you. But that man has a heart of gold. Same with Madam Afande there. I mean, these are people who are talking so much about the diaspora community from Uganda that live out here, and that's why we are here. So let's identify, let's be a part of, let's fill in these seats as they've been identified to be a little bit vacant, and there are people out there. Let's get everybody involved. We are ready to work with your team to make sure that the people who want to be a part of an investment arm that could be a part of what you're doing, but sectored into certain specific investment activities, takes off. We are ready to walk that walk and guide you people. So we can talk more. There's a lot to share. I can speak a whole day, but I think for now, this is what matters. So thank you very much. Again, it's humbling to be here among my Ugandan cousins, and it feels nice to be home. Asanteni. Thank you so much. Yeah. It wasn't long enough.
Asante sana, tunashukuru, tunashukuru, tunashukuru sana. Tumsalimie tena Mheshimiwa Raphael. Asanteni sana, tutasubiri kusikiza kutoka kwako baadaye. All right. Raphael is around. Ronnie, I speak Kiswahili. Naongea Kiswahili kizuri. Hii ni Afrika Mashariki. Asanteni, nashukuru. All right. Thank you very much for being practical. Keynote speakers usually present academic documents. They normally do quotes from books they have read. This has been more of, this is how you do it. And it's more practical. I just did some little maths. When you talked about $50 for 30,000 people per month. So if you have $50 from 30,000 people, think about that. It's about what, $1.5 million? In a month. Yo, that's crazy. Ha! Ronnie, mobilizing 30,000 Ugandans, and each of them makes a commitment of $50. will give you $1.5 million. Wow. Get that money and call Professor Sejaka, call Godfrey, call the guys in Uganda, and say, okay, we've invested. Interesting how it works. The circle has $40 million. Raphael. Wow. Thank you. All right. Asanteni sana. Thank you. Rafael, Mheshimiwa Rafael is here. Asante sana. Tunashukuru. Tunashukuru pia. All right. Can we stretch a little bit before we can bring our last three people? Let's stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Let's stand up a little bit, and we are going to do a small challenge of doing at least 30 skips. I'll see who is really up to this. We're doing 30 skips. Get your distance, please. Little skips. 1.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
11, 12, 13. Johnson, can you skip, please? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Have a seat, please. Johnson, were you really skipping? All right, guys. Thank you very much for staying with us. We're going to be hearing from someone who was one of you and went back home and she invested. Just tell us how the experience is. Ruth Bahika, CEO of Grace Villa Kawale. Come and speak to us how it is going. Ruth, karibu.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if I would be plugged in with all the amazing people who have presented before me. So I want to thank Ronnie and his team for deeming me worthy. 10 years ago, a younger Ronnie took a chance on me and honored me with giving me an award. It was my first award ever. It was called the Uganda Diaspora Award for Philanthropy. Now you can imagine the impact of receiving such a thing. And it was one of the platforms that sprang me forward along my journey. So 10 years ago, I moved as a Bostonian here, working as a child psychologist, and I'd been here for about 20 years. I'd gone to school here and made friends. I had bought a house, I had a car, I had a good network of friends, like Ronnie and many of you who I see here today. It was a big leap of faith. There's a long story behind it, and I ask you to please go to our website, Grace Villa Kawale, or Google it. We've been talking about Google a lot here today. I opened a home and a sanctuary for girls who are orphaned and girls who are at risk. I named it Grace after my mom. I'll go through some statistics here because many of you are talking finance. There was a report by UNICEF that had said Uganda has the second youngest population in the world. 78% of our citizens there are below 35. And they project that it will double in the next 25 years. As a result, stresses on things like education, health, and protective systems that are designed to support healthy children and youth would only grow. But now think about those statistics also in terms of children who have none. And that's what we exist for. We invest in our children. So what we are is, we are a home, and we are the only home that is approved in our district of Kabale to take in girls who are at risk. So what that means, in all children who are brought by police, the court, all those systems like the probation office, we are the only home that exists to give them safety. These are children who are pulled from situations like early marriage, little 13, 14-year-olds who have been sold off into marriage, and I say sold because they're given a cow or a goat in exchange. These are kids who are sold off into early working environments. Kids are on the street. Kids who are orphaned due to things like HIV. I'm telling these stories, if you go on my social media, you won't find sad stories. I like to project the positive. But the fact is we need to exist for these children, and these are the statistics that are out there. So what we do is we give them a safe space. Right now we have impacted over 600 children. Right now in the home, I live with 30 kids, but we have 215 who we are paying school fees for every day. We have children who have graduated from university, and we're very proud of them. And we're proud of the fact that we are raising children not to look back at their past and let it define them, and instead feel empowered. We give them a space to just grow and be fantastic. And right now, we're very, very proud of our girls. And when people ask me what my inspiration is, I say it's these children. Right now, some of our funds are being paid by graduates who actually are injecting back into the home. One of our cool success stories is a university girl. She got a scholarship to Africa Leadership University. This is a child who was an orphan who we picked from the street. She's now the vice president of Africa Leadership University in Mauritius. And this is a child who spent her time, you know how we work in school, work study, saved everything and came home and bought us an acre. Came home for the holidays, took off her shoes, and we cultivated, and that's the food that we were eating the last season. So we're actually seeing, we're talking about investment today, and we're seeing how investing in our children in the right way, not just throwing them into any, not in the right way, how investing nurture, education, the right surroundings, love, mentorship, skills, surrounding them with the fantastic people who can who they look at and want to emulate. And I'm proud to say that our biggest supporters are Ugandans, just like you. One of our board members is clapping very hard in the back, Adrian Braka. One of our programs is a mentorship program, and please, I have a table there. Please come and sign up to be we have an online mentorship thing called Mentoring Wednesdays, and David here was one of our mentors last year. So basically showing children how people who look just like them are doing fantastic things in the world, and that they can too. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Please join me as we raise our next generation so that our children, even those who came from places of being at risk, of being almost nothing, can stand here and address you today, and also be the leaders to raise families that are empowered, to raise communities that are empowered, to raise a country, even a continent that is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Investment is also part of philanthropy. You know, the word philanthropy, can we love on her once again? Grace, the fact that you left the life in Boston here with a house, with a car, with the networks, and went back and impacted. People have just been looking at the work that you're doing at Grace Villas, and you can Google it. I think it's really a worthy cause. Giving back to community, right? Yeah. You know, every time they talked about philanthropists, I would think these are the big guys who have money, you know, the Elon Musks, you know, they're philanthropists. They're big boys with monies, and they can just get a 10% of their earnings and throw it over to charity. That's what I really thought, that philanthropists are, you have enough money. Philanthropy is also giving back, getting your salary of 10 million and saying, I'll do 1 million shillings and change your life out there. So thank you, Grace, for making it, Ruth, thank you very much for making it count. All right. We will be having 2 more speeches, and then I'll invite Mr. Ronnie Mayanja to come and give his closing remarks. With us today, we have Mr. Brian Kayongo. Can we love on him? Mr. Brian Kayongo is in real estate. He's a businessman, but he's also having a very big concert coming up, the Kickstarter conference, of course. The Kickstarter conference, which is coming up, and he's going to be bringing Vusi. Wow, I should be back in Boston for this one. Mr. Brian Kayongo, you're very welcome. Karibu.
Thank you so much. I'm here with one of my team members. Adrian can introduce himself first, then I will speak last.
Okay. Boston, hello. Are you awake? I see the former cheerleader. We honor you. All those who have come from all over, thank you for coming. I'll be very, very brief. I also have a story. and this story begins when Mr. Brian and Mr. Ephraim, we were at a meeting where there was a 14-year-old kid. How old? This 14-year-old has 4 properties, single homes, that he owns, 14 gentlemen in America. And this 14-year-old is an immigrant, just like some of us. And the story is remained the same with an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 2 properties in high school. And they are immigrants like us. Somebody talked about making money in America. We are going to do this in March 29th and 30th. These people were in a panel. And their trainer, who is coming with them, would insist, how old are you? So that people would know. He has developed a system that can train any immigrant. It doesn't, whether you have an accent or no accent, whether you're brown, blue, green, he will train you to make money. This man is coming in March. We're giving him 7 hours to teach us that process. Those young people, true story, in the newspapers, donated $1 million in front of 80,000 people in a football stadium. $1 million donation, and it doesn't affect their net worth. If those people who have an accent can do it, we too can do it. So Mr. Brian has invited him, and he has agreed to come with those kids to show us how we can do the same and replicate. Mr. Vusi, I will not say more. You know about him. I'll let Mr. Brian say more.
Thank you, Adrian, for those good words. For me, I just want to give an opinion or advice. It's about a pencil. So today, we have people here who have spoken on this panel. And those people are a rubber on that pencil. And for us, we are the pencil. We write our life every day. And every day we get people, like the people who have spoke here today, as a rubber to erase the issues in our lives, to improve on our lives, to guide us better. The one thing which I want to tell you, what happened to the pencil? The rubber ended, got done. They didn't have any other option. Can you believe? So what am I sharing to you who are here today? You are blessed that you are the pencil who is seated here, listening, watching. And the rubber came, talked to you, you're improving your life, and you are changing. And those who are not here, who didn't even get a chance to watch and listen or to be advised, they missed. What am I advising? To my community, to all immigrants, to Ugandans, to anyone. People like Ronnie Mayanja, who get an opportunity to organize for us these events, who put such events to help us improve and bring the rappers for us to erase what has gone wrong in our lives. Please show up. You can never get an opportunity if you don't show up. You need to show up for yourself, not for your auntie, not for your uncle, for yourself first, so that you can change your life. That is just my advice to you. Please show up. The rubber will end, and you will not have more people like these trying to advise you and give you the opportunity. Thank you so much.
So as we conclude, we have a sticker. Both of you have seen it on your table. One more person that is a big surprise. And the magazine, oh, you have a magazine, please, with the advert as well. Ronnie, thank you. On behalf of our community, we appreciate you. The sponsors for helping us get together. Our brothers from Kenya, from Congo, and Branda, Burundi, we are all inviting you for this event. One thing that is a big surprise is we're getting somebody from MIT. This gentleman is in the forefront of where this world is going when it comes to technology. And Africans, we must be at this table. Africa is the richest country on this continent with so much talent. We've been fortunate that this man who commands a speaking fee of $250,000 for an hour, true story, you can Google. You will see the adverts coming soon. We've started with Vusi because you know him. We have other 2 people from Africa who have a global impact that are who have accepted our invitation. There will be others, but let's unite, as you've heard the term. Sir, you MC very well. It's good to see you again. And on behalf of Concept Enterprises, we invite you all. Let's build and let's give to good causes like the Queen of Katwe, the book, Grace Villa. We also have Mindful Charity. If those immigrants can give, a 14-year-old would say that I want to retire my parents. Imagine, I want to retire my parents. Our children should be saying that to us as well. Many blessings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We only have a few minutes. May I invite Emma Chivumbi from Buganda Bumu to come and say a word or two. You're very, very welcome, Emma. Karibu.
Thank you. And thanks to all the presenters and Ronnie for putting this up. I'm Emmanuel Kifumbi, the president of Buganda Bumu, and we welcome you to Boston. I think I've seen so many new faces and we have had so many great presentations. But when the presenter for Equity was presenting, I knew something, we had a connection somehow. And I realized that he was Mtovu. Galabuzi from Chitovu, because we are the only people that can come up with such interesting stories. Yeah, about the crocodiles and, yeah, so I think you can kill a crocodile by suicide, Galabuzi. You remember suicide, yeah. So we have an upcoming convention, so I'm gonna be brief, in 2025. Our previous convention was in Seattle, very well attended, and we hope Boston is gonna be even more attended. We had over 800 people back in Seattle, and we hope we're gonna have over 1,000 people here in Boston. So we hope that all the investors here will partner with us. We had partnered with Equity, but this time around in Seattle, I don't know what happened, but we hope to partner with them again and put up an amazing presentation or show here in Boston. So Ronnie is gonna be our contact person regarding investments and sponsors. So we hope when he reaches out to you to partner with us for the convention, that you'll respond. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you in Seattle and Boston in 2025. Actually, yeah, we also have Buganda Day today, starting at 4 p.m. So if you don't have anywhere to go, or if you want to see what goes on over here in Boston, you are welcome to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma, for Buganda Bumu. You had forgotten to talk about Buganda Day, which is today. Where is it happening? Okay, later. All right, we've come to the end of the breakfast today. I am just sure that you remember a story from today. I think I remember 3 stories today, one of which is the Adam and Eve. The other one, I did not know a crocodile can get paralyzed after eating. Are you serious? Like, oh, it's just one of those fairy tales. Okay, interesting. May I invite the CEO of the Uganda Diaspora Network and the event organizer, Ronnie Mayanja, for this breakfast. Can we love on him once again? I've worked with Ronnie for over 8 years, but I know he really, really puts in a lot of work. Ronnie also is behind the Diaspora event that happens every December when you come home, and really make sure that you're supported as people in the diaspora. Ronnie, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Can we love on him once again? Thank you, Mr. Mayanja. Karibu.
Thank you so much. But before I say my closing remarks, I would like to, first of all, why don't we give a round of applause to Mr. Solomon Seranja. He's someone I've enjoyed working with, like as he said, the last 8 years. He's a Komla Dumla award-winning journalist for Africa, BBC. Winning that award on the continent, I'm sure you could see why, because of his presentation and how he keeps you engaged. We've been here for quite some time. But I really appreciate, and of course, he's someone I've also worked with, mentored in the media. When I went back to NBS and did the election specials in 2016 and started things like Frontline and was a part of all that team, I was working very closely with Mr. Solomon Seranja. So I do work as a media consultant in my other life. I also am the founder of Uganda-Canada Convention, and I'm being recognized in Canada by Afro Global Television on the October the 19th in one of those leading hotels in Toronto. So I thank you so much. The people who nominated me, Moses Mao and the team over in Canada, thank you if you're watching. I'll be coming over in Toronto to be part of that event. But overall, I would like to thank you. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you so much for everybody who has been able to come. Thank you for the people watching online who have been taking notes. I don't work alone. I work with a lot of people who make me what I am today. I would like to recognize my wife, Janet. Please stand up for recognition. She's the mother of my 3 daughters, and she's my support system. She puts up with a lot of stress when I'm stressed, because, putting up some of these events is not easy. You come in a hotel like this, and then you're slapped with a tax bill of $8,000 over and above the amount you've paid. That can cause a heart attack, and I went through something like that. When I was told after everything, the minimum pays everything I had to pay, over 30 grand, then I have to pay over another $8,000 in taxes. So that leaves you kind of limping. But I'm glad that I have people who help me pay for these events. Thank you so much, National Social Security Fund, NSSF. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you, Mr. Richard Yego, for everything you've done. Thank you, Equity Bank, for allowing us to be here. Thank you, Solomon, and thank you, Mr. Semaganda. Solomon was supposed to be at Transparency International Conference in Madagascar, where he has to fly out to go tomorrow. But he said, Ronnie, I have to fly in here and support you. And I'm glad that when we actually purchased the ticket, you were able to come and be part of this event. It's always an honor to see you. Africa Boston Festival, I'm a part of you, I'm a board member. I'm glad you could make it. She had to be somewhere. And then the team from Texas that flew in to be part of this event, I'm honored. Tomorrow you'll see the Ugandans. They don't kind of like the talk. They're watching online. They come for the party. For that, I wanted to say 2 things. We have tickets available. You can talk to Shadrach, who, by the way, Shadrach, come, you're going to have to say something. He flew in all the way from Uganda. He's the country manager for Uganda Diaspora Network. He coordinates all the people in Kampala, making sure that our MDs and officials get the visas. I work closely with the embassy because now there is no appointment, believe it or not, for visa interviews in Uganda, but I have people who allow, me to get in there and be able to get our chief executives appointments for visas, like what happened, and they were able to make it here. But I work closely with a gentleman who I have kind of told my wife and brother and family that probably if I sort of step aside from doing this because it's a lot of pressure and work. I've been grooming this young man for quite some time. He came as a volunteer when I started doing the Uganda Diaspora Network events in Uganda. I've worked with him for over 5 years. He's very dedicated. He was the one when I flew the whole Afrigo band to Canada for the first time. He flew in with them, coordinated the tour in Toronto and Edmonton. And that was a test for me. I waited to see whether he was going to go back home, and he actually went back home. So when he went back home, I was able again to get through the contacts at the embassy, and literally I said, I need him to come to Boston and literally lead the team and coordinate everything. So if you don't mind, as we wrap up, I would want him to say something. His name is Mr. Shadrach Olinga. He hails from Tororo. He's a Muteso or Iteso or whatever they call them. But I love his heart and spirit. When I'm up, he comes down. You know, he's always the calming spirit, even with the customers and the promoters, and people are like, certain things are not where they're supposed to be. And I'm like, Shadrach, handle that. And he's able to do that. So Shadrach, abantu babuze kabe Boston, what has been your experience coming to America for the first time, and then greet your audience and see online and maybe your daughter at home.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and I think good evening in Uganda. My name is Shadrach. I'm the country manager for the Uganda Diaspora Network, and I'm happy to be here. It's my very first time in the US. Thanks to Ronnie. I'll be going back. But I'm just here to talk to us about one. We have the Uganda-Canada Convention that will be happening next year. That will be back in Toronto. The dates will be communicated. But for details, you can reach out to me at the desk outside. And also for those who will be coming in December, we have the business breakfast on the 28th at the Kampala Serena Hotel. And the 29th, we have a gala dinner at the Kampala Serena Hotel. Again, for those who want more details, we'll be at the back there, but thank you all for coming. We appreciate. We thank all our partners, sponsors, MTN, Housing Finance, NSSF, Equity, everybody else, Mr. Jaka. We appreciate you very much. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shadrach Olinga. So really, my ask is this, guys. It costs money to put these things up. We have a dinner. The tickets are only $100. This is taking place tomorrow in the ballroom behind us. We've paid extra for extended hours for you to stay here until 1 a.m. We've got and flown in Silverback DJ who is going to be playing music. We have 3 fashion designers. Solo Mekatongole has flown in from Maryland to be part of this event. We have Miss Uganda flying in from Dubai. We have Evelyn Nabs, who has also come in she's in one of the colleges here, but basically a budding fashion designer. And then, of course, we have Susan Mirembe, another fashion designer, who is also going to be part of that stage. We also have a band. Zani is coming in from California. And then we have GNL Zamba for the young people. Why am I saying all this? For only $100, you get to eat dinner, you get to see fashion, and you get to see powerful DJ who basically is flying all over the places here in the United States in that same room. We also have a keynote for tomorrow from the mayor of Newton, who is going to be joining us because she accepted our invitation to be part of that. My ask is that please come. Let's fill this room and let our partners and sponsors know that they are Ugandans in Boston, especially those watching us online. For $100, you're going to be getting entertainment, you're getting fashion, you're getting dinner. A dinner or literally a plate of food averages about $70 in this place, or 80. But we're just basically trying to subsidize this because we got some sponsorship. And that is why we want to make sure more people can turn up. So please, if you can be a good ambassador, or if you have somewhere you think you can skip, or call in, because our people like ours, call in and join us for that event and see what we can actually be able to do in that regard. Is that a promise? So now I just want to formally end and just say that Mr. Watson, I appreciate you. Please stand up for recognition. If you don't know, Mr. Alan Watson is the person behind Diaspora Television. If you guys need any sort of business, I'm about sharing, and they say sharing is caring. Support him. We work together. I don't work alone. They support me. I support them. So Diaspora TV, if you're watching, please reach out, support them. They need advertising, and that is what keeps them going. Mr. Kalunji, why don't you stand up? He's the sound engineer. Tomorrow you're going to see his full effect in terms of sound and all the engineering that goes into it, lighting and everything. I'm looking forward. Support Mr. Kalunji, who also supports us. And then Brian Photo. Where is Brian? He's our official photographer. Brian, you're amazing. The pictures that you see on their website are taken by that gentleman. He's a professional photographer. He does amazing work. Let's support him. He has business cards, and see what you can be able to do with your business. And then, of course, please stand up and wave. This gentleman over here is a young, I want you to stand up so people can get to see you. He has T-shirts. You know, he asked me if you could come. I just basically want us to support our own. That is what I'm really all about. So with that, really, I just don't have much to say, but to appreciate everybody. My wife, Janet, my sister-in-law, Annette, please stand and wave as well. We really appreciate everybody who has supported us in every capacity. And of course, tomorrow, you know, once our families are there, you'll be able to see them. They'll be able to speak formally and all that. I know we've been here for quite some time. And Jeffrey, man, that was quite a speech, my brother. I don't even know what to say. And then everybody keeps asking me, who is that guy? And then online, Oliver was saying, people were like just saying a lot of things. And I know we're still live, but that was inspirational. Whether we can convert that into something tangible, that is a story for another day. And then Professor Hugo, thank you so much. Professor Hugo is someone coming here that I've known for some time through Robert Katende connections again. When I invited Robert to come here, we went to Harvard University where Robert would speak. And you know, one time we were talking, and then once I took Robert to Harvard and he was able to get $10,000 for speaking engagement, he was like, where have you been? And I told him that is what it's supposed to be about. Because of the movie, you're supposed to milk that, you know, because at the end of the day, these people, once you have content the way you've presented here, people will give. And that is one thing I believe Robert has to offer. And then Solomon keeps asking me, why do you always go everywhere with Robert? If it's in Canada, wherever I go, and I'm like, I just told him that when I was in Boston, the time the movie came out, I was at the Boston Common. I watched it downtown. The entire theater of about 200 people was full of white people. It was only me and my wife were the only black people there. And I said, you know what, I'm going back home to look for this guy. I went, told Keen I wanted to find this guy. He put me in touch with one of his sports editors because I couldn't find the contact. And that is how, they said they had run a story about Robert. That's how I sort of met him. We started at Acacia, I think Acacia Mall or that place. We were there until they closed the place down for 6 hours. And we were just talking, and then I knew that in my spirit I had to work. I told him I will give what I can, and somehow, as they say, the rest is history. So I always feel a part of him, and wherever I am, I always say, Robert, if you can come, I will make everything happen, whatever I can make happen. And so I've been talking to the schools, including my daughter's schools, you know, and they want him to come and speak and inspire the kids into the next generation of leaders. So that is what we're about. It's giving back. Whichever way you can give back, please do. And the other person who you might not know is very powerful, but is in this room. There's a movie that is in the offing. Joshua, why don't you come and greet people? Just greet. I know you're one person who is very discreet, but this is the gentleman who, when the movie Queen of Katwe came out, these are people who work with the guys in Hollywood to bring big pictures. He works for a motion company here in Boston. I know he's going to kill me for this, but just come and love on these people. Before we wrap up, people need to know the power of Boston. Just say a word or two.
Thank you very much. I like being discreet. That's true. Thank you very much, Ronnie. I'm deeply touched by your love for our nation. Thank you so much for the things that you have done. Thank you so much. God bless you, sir. And yes, I'm in the film industry, and we have a great project coming through. We haven't been talking about it, but it's about a trip of an American president in East Africa and how it changed American democracy, and is a very key part of it, and has really put some pieces together to make that happen. Yes, and so thank you again for that, because It takes an army to make things work. And so there is something big. Films is not just entertainment, it's product positioning. It's product positioning because of the level of scale that you can be able to access in distribution, especially in highly, in economies like this where the entertainment appetite is high. It's not just entertainment. So that's what we use to really do product placements. We're going to be positioning our nation, of course, other things like coffee, cotton, and all that. There's a way to do that. Praise the, you know, I was going to say praise the Lord, but praise the Lord. Yes, which is okay. Glory to God. It just comes out like that. Yes, but thank you very much. And thank you, Ronnie, for the opportunity.
Yeah, so yeah, there is a movie that, if many of you are readers, believe it or not, President Roosevelt, after stepping down as President of the United States, went all the way to Uganda. And when he went to Uganda, he was able to find a lot of things in the kingdom of Buganda. So that movie, you know, there was a whole center spread in the New York Times and Politico about his visit. And then when he came here, that changed his entire spectrum about black people, because he found the kingdom of Buganda extremely organized. They even sang for him the Staps Tango Band and all that. This is 1890 or something like that. So when I read the story, I shared it with Professor Henry Gates. He was amazed, and the man who has authored that book, I'm in touch through some contacts, again, like Joshua and Margaret Awin at the embassy. So something big is in the offing for Uganda, really bigger than probably Queen of Katwe. But the fact that a US American president was able to do that and visit Uganda and actually be able to attest to the fact that indeed Uganda is the pearl of Africa, as Sir Winston Churchill said. Google the story, Roosevelt visits Uganda. It's in Politico. If you're online right now, it was a huge, huge article here in the US papers. So when he visited Uganda, and we wanted to see if we could sort of move that into a movie as well.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
Mwebale nnyo kujja. Oliver Nakakande flying all the way from Dubai to accept our humble invitation to showcase and also host our fashion. We thank you. Professor Hugo Kamia, thank you. Mwami Sejaka, thank you so much. We didn't do you justice, but tomorrow, because there are more people, I want you to talk about that. I might be interested personally in also participating in that mutual fund sort of drive as well. That investment group caught my attention. Mr. Yego, thank you so much. We have a lot of questions for you online. A lot of people were watching, and they were telling me, I don't know what Momo pay. You know, they are always bagamba kumbaga tekubula komusiufu. There were people who were like, neba naba Momo pay bakole chiwano. So, and yet, when I had a chance to pick him up from the airport, we talked a lot about, and I was also curious that now where do we fit in as in the grand scheme of things as Ugandans? You know, this is supposed to be a Ugandan product. He educated me a lot about the colors in the MTN Momo, MTN logo, and the fact that the SIM card works across various networks. You don't just have to be an MTN subscriber. For me, that caught me. And I think there is a lot of opportunity that goes into that. Is there anybody I've left out? Mwami Tendo Kaluma, an IT specialist out of Auburn in New York. Maybe just come and greet people briefly. Just, you have to come here because of the mic. 2 minutes, and then Pastor Belinda will pray for us, and then we'll just, please, don't leave without interacting with these folks. And then there's the Equity opening, instant opening account, opening center right outside here. If you need to register a loved one for the convention in Canada, Shadrach is here. We had a lot of success last year for the Canadian visas. I wrote to the immigration minister and I complained about the fact that we spend a lot of money there, and sometimes the visas would delay, would not even get a response, and they responded en masse, and people got visas. The only thing we ask, please don't overstay your visas. It's always good, if you have 10 years, go in, go out. Otherwise, when we have people going in and thinking we are not into human trafficking, we are into just giving you the opportunity to travel, experience the world, change your mindset, and probably change the people back in your sort of household or family. Let me allow Mr. Kaluma to say something, and then Pastor Belinda will ably send us away, and then probably pray for us and make sure we have a successful day tomorrow as well.
Hi, my name is Tendo Kaluma. I'm just delighted to be here. Delighted to be here. And there was a gentleman who was a philosopher and a mathematician who wrote and said, I see things that never were. And I say, why not? So when Ron told me that he's going to have this conference, I asked him a couple questions. And those questions were, where is our commodities exchange in East Africa? And how do we as IT people make sure that a person who buys sugar in Kisumu can also know that sugar in Kampala is the same price? So the East African community, we have to embrace it. We have to find a way of building those roadways through IT, because I'm an IT person, and through collaboration. The collaboration that we want to have collaboration in biologics. We want to have collaborations in textile manufacturing, collaborations in value-added, products that our president talks about all the time. So these are questions that are in my mind, and say, when you go to Tanzania today and you give them Uganda currency, none of their banks want to take it. So that, to me, tells me that we have a lot of work to do as East Africans. Whether we get one currency and say that, okay, this is what we're going to use, and this is the East African gold standard, or the Great Lakes region gold, because all the gold comes from us. You know that, right? So these are things that, linger in our minds. But I am just delighted to be next to Ron and Pastor Belinda, because he has been working tirelessly. Ron, I thank you. I can't thank you enough to get this going. So today I said, I gotta go to Ron's thing. So sometimes it's in Canada, sometimes in Uganda, and when you're an IT person, you're just incredibly busy doing different things, and they want you on the weekends. So, but I see growth. And we're not institution people, but this is becoming an institution. And that is very important. And we have to embrace institutions. This is where we're going. I have more to say, but I'm just delighted. And all our guests here in Boston, welcome to Boston. Come back again. It's the greatest city to live in when you are an East African or when you're coming from Africa. It's a wonderful place. That gentleman, we have a lot to talk about. But without further ado, I'm sure you've been here for quite some time. But think of the things. I want to leave you with 3 things that I always tell my fellow Africans when I meet them. The world is going into quantum computing. Quantum computing is a huge, huge thing. If the digital divide left us behind, don't let the quantum computing shift leave us behind. You have to know, everyone here, I keep telling this story, has a Google password. That Google password, it takes the regular computer that you have 1 billion years to figure out who your grandfather was or grandmother that you put in that password. But for a quantum computer, it takes it 3 seconds to figure out who your grandmother was, and then get that password, and the person will be connected. Think of the power of a quantum computer, what it's going to enable us to do. Now, I keep saying that there's a trinity of things, even though I'm next to Pastor Belinda. The trinity of things in technology right now is quantum computing, AI. Everybody talks about AI. What is that? Neural networks that we use in our brain, they put them in computers, they're figuring out how to automate things that never were. Okay? So the third thing, which is so important, that's the trinity of technology, is the ability to edit genes. if we teach our students CRISPR-Cas9, every student coming out of high school in East Africa or the Great Lakes region, knowing how to edit genes would be an incredible thing. I know I'm talking to economists, I apologize, but I know there's going to be a confluence of things where the economics, where all this technology that we talk about, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, it doesn't take a lot, you know, writing these programs in AI. It's just, you just need to teach your kids mathematics. All those neural networks that you see are full of mathematics. You did simultaneous equations, multiply those equations by 1,000, and then you'll figure out how to converge them as a what? As an AI person. That's what's behind the neurons, and you layer them. And the two types, you know, you can teach them, those that you teach how to recognize things, and those that do it by themselves, okay? So it's not rocket science. We can do it. We have the brains to do it. We have the capacity to do it as East Africans, okay? And I thank you for the time. I just wanted to say those few words. Please, please let your children know that this is where things are going. Quantum computing, artificial intelligence, AI, and then editing of genes so that I can go to Ronnie if he's sick and say, give me, I want to know your genes. And then I'll use the AI to go to every database that has ever done medical chemistry for medicine. And then I'll collect what has worked, because the quantum computer is very fast. It might do it in a day. Wow. Thank you so much. Malinda, I apologize.
I'm going to pray for 4 things. First of all, I'd like to apologize. Maybe I've not been so much of your supporter. But I'm sure everybody has been blessed. I've been challenged. Actually, this place should be full. There are so many Ugandans here. And if they knew what you are presenting, I believe this place would be small for them. From now onwards, we are going to support you. I'm an elder in the community here. And we have to pray for our community. Thank God for COVID. God has opened the door to what you are presenting. Ugandans have gone into business. You know, Michael Kiaga, the CPA, we decided for Ugandans to learn, to invest, start their businesses. There's a lot that is going on in our community. But what you are presenting opens a bigger door for Ugandans here. I want to thank you for your presentation. That was challenging. And the gentleman from Kenya, we have a big Kenyan community, and I go in their churches. But those guys are organized, especially in investing, in buying houses, and I'm interested in buying a house in Malindi. Now, the other thing I want us to pray for are our children. I have 6 children, and my daughter is in Australia, the others are in Canada, but the big problem is to change their mindset, to begin to learn, to invest, to see far. The whole thing, as we make this presentation, is that we should pass something to the next generation. Now, I'm in housing finance. We wanted to take a loan, but my daughter said, no, are you crazy? The interest. That's why I was talking to my brother. I want us to pray for our young generation. Our children who have been born here. How do they go back home? How do they invest? You know, it's a challenge to some of us. I mean, the spiritual side of it. Ronnie, I'm sorry to tell you, I was one of the leaders that were invited by President Obama in the White House. And they created a post for me as the spiritual advisor. They formed PACA. But Obama told us that you Africans unless you get involved in politics and in business, you're going nowhere. And he told us you're not like the Spanish. Here, people who are from Guatemala, they are called Spanish. But from Africa, you're either Nigerian, you're from West Africa, from East Africa, you're all different. And then he said, my children have a problem. They don't fit in Africa, and they also don't fit where? My father was a Kenyan. So these things, ladies and gentlemen, are a challenge. And I think Ronnie Mayanja and you all, this is where we come in for our generation that is born here. And one leg is in Uganda, the other leg is where? So I don't know what else to say. God bless you. Why don't we stand? We have a challenge. We thank God for a conference like this one. It challenges us, and it opens doors to see a young lady from Dubai. I'd like to buy a house in Dubai as an investment for my children. The Bible says you leave, what do you leave for your children? An inheritance. That's why we are here. How many of you are well off to leave an inheritance? Not just your children, but your children's children. And the other challenge I'm giving you, I'm a pastor, I'm a businessman. But you know why God took the children of Israel to Egypt? They suffered 430 years. Then he took them out as engineers, as doctors, as nurses, to go and start a new nation. So God has brought us here in America. And that's what the brother was telling us. To learn, to be investors, go in real estate. Then begin to change Africa. Don't just look at Uganda. Let us look at Kenya, Tanzania. There is so much to be done. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen? Brother, I would like to invest in your mutual. Brother, I have $1,000. I'm ready to start. I mean, don't walk out here. You've had, take a card. Some of you don't even have cards. You don't have a website. Start something. Begin to think. Start a website. Start an organization. These guys flew from Uganda. They are challenging us. This is the problem. That's why all the chairs are empty. People are working hard. They have the money, but they don't have people to motivate them and challenge them. Ronnie, this should be your work, brother. Let us pray. Father, we want to thank you and give you glory and honor for bringing us in America. Some of us, we've been here for a long time. We've been going around, making money. Money has been eaten. Money has been stolen. Papers have been a problem for many. Many have suffered. War. Lord, we just want to lift up our communities. The African community, the Ugandan community. We're all Africans. Change our mindset. Lord, we need to do something that is different. Not only in Uganda, but here. To become investors. Jesus, you said, I'm coming so that you have an abundant life. Most of us, we lack that abundant life. We don't sleep. 3 jobs. No investment. Nothing. Change our mindset. Open the doors for us to be educated. And Father, for our generation, our young generation, to grow up so that we leave something for them. Father, we thank you for those who are back home. We understand some are going through fire, some are going through hell, poverty, but we are in foreign land to help our people as we've been challenged. Help us, open doors, bring change to Africa, but the change starts from here. Make us to become agents of change. Bless everybody. Bless us. Thank you for Ronnie. Thank you for the organizers of this conference. Bless them. Open finances for him. In Jesus' name, I pray and decree. Amen and amen. Thank you, Ronnie. I'm sorry. Ronnie has challenged me. This has been my challenge. For me, I'm tired of poverty. I have a small company. You have to learn how to invest. I don't know what else to say, ladies and gentlemen. Ugandans, they don't know anything about stocks. And I'm in churches. People don't know how to invest. People don't know where to put their money. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is formally over. Thank you so much for coming out. We have some T-shirts for Diaspora, Uganda Diaspora over there outside. You can purchase one at $25. Very fine cotton. Tickets for the dinner. Shadrach is going to be at the door. If you want a ticket for the dinner, as you go out, please buy one. Oliver Nakakande has a book out. If you want to basically get an autographed copy of the book, please do that. And then our keynote speakers and our, what I would call platinum sponsors, Mr. Sejaka, NSSF, will be at the dinner tomorrow. They will be having remarks. That way you guys can get the maximum. And then after that, we will bring you to the churches and the communities. There is the opening of the Church of Uganda, Boston Church tomorrow. We'll be there as well.
This is Diaspora TV, your #1 global network.
Yo TV channels app kateli big and better. Anti app nyamwemu otuke munsi y'okunyumirwa. Selecting Yo TV channels or streaming live radio net TV. Oba Kibanda Express katandike butandisi nga bwonyumirwe bina Uganda. Ate ku Bolingo Extra supporting music wa Uganda ne comedy. Tokanga ku muto abana bakunyumirwanga n'okuyiga olwakatuni ow'omulembe abako ate nga yigiriza. Downloading app ya Yo TV channels lero.